Go-Go's.
Go,
I
go,
love
bonobos.
Go-Go's.
I don't think my Twitch is doing that. You know my Twitch does that thing where it's black?
What are Go-Go's?
Oh no, we're good. Okay, so we're in.
Yeah. Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi,
Hey
Street.
everybody. Hi
The
Street.
dead guy speaks first.
Right. Yeah, what are Go-Go's?
Those little like
The
tradable like toy things that you'd get in. They're like the like Yu-Gi-Oh cards and stuff. You get them randomly in a pack. And you
Yeah,
just,
they were
like,
like these
trade them
little
around and
toys.
stuff.
Yeah, I just loved them as a kid.
I need to like search them.
Yeah, just
Nope.
Google it. Go-Go.
I need
Nope.
one of you to start your own orchestra so that we can have
Yeah.
atmospheric.
Go-Go's Crazy Bones. That's what they were called.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
heard of the Crazy Bones thing. Yeah, we need
Okay.
atmospheric music which is not copyright claimed.
Aw, damn.
So if one of you wants to start working on that, you know, learn
Because-
piano.
I was like, Fire Emblem, because
Why?
the music's so great. And then I remember Nintendo.
Because, well, not that we make any money off these videos anyway, but currently I think 2 out of the 4 uploads I've put on YouTube have been copyright claimed.
What does
Right.
that mean? They take them down.
They don't take them down, they just demonetize them. Tricks on them, they weren't making any money.
Fucked.
But if they were making money, or if we were getting actual numbers of views, then I'd have to stop using music that I find on YouTube, because the algorithms in YouTube find their own videos. They're like, hey, this snippet of music's being used in this video, and you're not the first one, so now it belongs to them.
Alright.
Okay, so, session 24. If anyone has, well, Sevi, do you want to do the recap on 23?
Yeah, sure.
Pull other Ulrich in? I don't know why Ulrich is his own listening thing currently, but you have joined Discord as well, but you are muted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because I went to post the picture of those Go-Go's things in the Discord chat.
It's so important.
I just want to show Max, you know?
Go-Go's were great.
Okay, Sevi, whenever you're good.
I don't think I've missed anything, but if I have, sorry.
You've frozen on Skype as well. I don't think there's anything we can do about that, but it's a thing that's happened.
There you
Cool,
go.
thank
Made
you.
that work. So Nemea thinks there's suspicious wind on the other side of the door. We wait and we wait, but there's no layout, so we start to worry. Nemea reappears, and she can Nemea remembers that she can disappear and reappear like some sort of magician or something.
Oh no, I don't want to relive this.
Goes to the other side of the
Yes.
door. We end up going in and finding a trapdoor covered in blood. We go through and find 2 demon things with Lael knife point. A huge fight ensues, and we learn that these creatures are in fact the mayor and her daughter. Lael fights for his life and goes down multiple times, with myself and Vice doing everything we can to keep him and the whole group up and fighting. Finally, we manage to kill the daughter, but in a rage, the mayor takes down Lael for the last time. With nothing
The
left,
mayor?
the group.
The
The
mayor?
mayor.
Yeah.
Oh, the mayor.
The
Sorry.
mayor.
The mayor.
His
The
name's
mayor,
Pascal.
sorry.
Call him Pascal, that's easier.
What? No,
No,
the
her,
woman.
it's-
No, the lady, the woman.
Oh, Agaria.
Yeah.
There's
okay.
several
Well, she's
mayors and
not-
also Nemea, so it's a bit confusing.
Sorry.
With nothing left, the group can't save him and fight her until she dies. We stop and take in the loss of Lael. Nemea takes it the hardest, and I perform the ritual learnt from my home to send him on to Arella. Vice, not Max, finds an old man in a cage, and we save him, realizing that this is actually the real mayor. Nemea wants to burn the place down, but we manage to convince her to wait so we can get Lael and the old mayor out before she does it. The town rally, and she burns the entire town hall down. They come and help us sort the burial of Lael. We bury him, just us, and move on. Vice found a scroll in the hall before we left, and we figure out this is a high-level teleportation spell. With our spirits down and feeling lost, Vice attempts to teleport us to a small area outside Starven. We suddenly appear in a new place, the place we were hoping, and Vice looks like death. We made it, but missing someone.
Yeah. Oh man.
Cool. Do you want to kill your cam and restart it again, Sevi? I think it's just
I'm not
because-
going to keep restarting it if it's doing that.
Well, if you don't restart it, then I have to change the whole setup on OBS to bring your picture back in and turn the cams to one cam, which I can do, but it's a ball ache.
Okay, I'll put it back on.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, so like you guys said, you buried Lael like we were chatting about before the stream went live, you buried him with all of his possessions, and you don't have a number of things as a result of that. One of those things being the map of Bela'Dun. Obviously, you're just traveling the main roads anyway, so even without the map or checking it regularly, you guys have been able to keep to the road and know the rough direction that you're going in. So, I believe the specifics of how you arrived, the three of you specifically, is that you were in some sort of wooded area, close enough-ish, I think I said about 3 hours or so, it was around that, from Stalvin, to be able to just about kind of see it in the distance. It's a large, let me put you on Stalvin, it's a large looming white city, of kind of silver adornments and just generally huge towering buildings. Because of the dawn of Arelueva, the festival of the New Year, happening tomorrow, there are, on the 1st of, I believe it's called Aurelis, the first month? Let's get the calendar
Yeah.
open for a sec. On the first day of the New Year, there are strips of white fabric, sort of cut, torn, and adorning all of the buildings and the walls and things like that. The main way to show you're intending to celebrate Arelueva is to hang these fabrics, not unlike the kind of tabard that Livia is wearing as a follower of Arella. Hang these fabrics from buildings and things like that. You used the entire thing to wrap Lael, did you? I thought you said you ripped off the bottom end of the back half.
Yeah, but I couldn't have then kept that on me, could I?
No, but your tabard is front and back, so the front side is still there, right?
No. I ripped off the back and gave him everything else.
Oh, I see. I thought you ripped off the back and used that, and then kept
No.
the rest. Okay, cool. So that means Livia's wearing much more kind of... there's a gaudier, harsher look to her armor set then, because it was adorned by this sort of draping white fabric with unique golden detail. Now it's just heavy bits of metal. So, as you are about 3 hours or so away, you can see what you can see. It's pretty much the image that I've got for Stalvin. Thank you to whoever made this image. I don't know where I stole it from. And it is about 3 p.m. on Thana 30, last month of the year, the day before the New Year. What do you guys want to do?
First of all,
Have
I
we
want to
long
address...
rested since the battle? Sorry.
No, you teleported, and you have not yet long rested at all.
Jeez.
We should make camp outside of Stolven, I think.
How far is Stolven from where we are?
It's about 3 hours walk.
Okay.
And what's the
Do
time
we,
of day?
3
do we
p.m.
want 3 p.m.?
Sorry?
Do we not want to just walk it from where we are?
Well, you're exhausted, and
Yeah, you have 5 points of exhaustion, wasn't it? Was it 5 or 4?
Oh,
4.
4, okay.
okay. Yeah, I need to. Yeah,
You're completely exhausted, and I'm completely exhausted.
But long resting is only gonna get rid of 1 point of exhaustion.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it would put me and Nemea back to normal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know.
you guys might have to carry me.
Sevi quit Skype.
Lael deceased is typing.
Let's just come back.
I know, but it won't stay, so I'm trying to set it up to have her image added and you be on Skype. Sevi, can you hear me?
Oh yeah.
Quit Skype. Cancel your cam.
Okay.
There you go. Thank you. That'll have to do. So I don't want to fuck around.
Oh, that profile
sizing of the
picture.
image for a long time. Fortunately, I prepared for our various Skype bullshit.
So I'm on here alone. Is that
No,
what
I'm
it
on
is?
cam. You just can't see me.
Oh, well, get yourself on cam.
I can't because I'm directly streaming my cam to OBS.
Well then.
You see it in the VOD.
Oh god.
I've been thinking of ways around it, and the only thing I can come up with is to get a second webcam, so that I can do OBS and Skype, because if I output straight to Skype, it's just that tiny fucking thing in the corner, and I can't appear as like a proper entry, like a real person on Skype. So I'd need a second cam to join both calls, which I might do, but it's so low priority. Anyway, you guys resting? Are you heading out for 3 hours? You can see. I'll tell you what. Everyone roll perception.
Except me.
No, that's everyone. You're not a person anymore.
I'm dead.
10.
18.
Okay. So as Livia and Nemea are sort of starting to think about setting up to potentially camp, despite your current exhaustion, Vice, you're looking out over at the area that leads towards Starvin. You can see that it's pretty open plains, and you feel like if anything was to be a threat, it would be... You'd see it coming from a decent ways off if you had your wits about you. Also, Vice, you have, and you might want to write this down under, is it debuffs in the top right of your character sheet on the first page?
Conditions.
Conditions.
Yeah.
Disadvantage on ability checks. Your speed is halved. You have disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws, and your hit point maximum is halved.
Wait, hang on. Disadvantage on ability checks.
Yep.
Speed is halved.
Disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws. And you have half your maximum health.
And half maximum health. Bloody hell, there's not enough room to put it in there. Okay. Cool. Great. Like, guys, I'm not really feeling it right now. You might have to carry me.
I think we should just make camp.
I have disability.
We'll make camp.
Disadvantage on ability checks.
We'll cook. You go sleep in the cot.
Yeah.
We'll wake you up when we've got some food.
Thanks.
Oh,
We thought it was going to take us months. We can wait another day.
I've got spices in my satchel. You're welcome to them.
He says that to all the
Please.
girls.
You can save them, honey.
Okay, so you guys are going to set up and try and sleep?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys have points of exhaustion?
No. Why would we?
Well,
He
it's
has points of exhaustion because he did the
Rude.
spell
it's
that
going to be
was like
difficult
level
to
9.
sleep in bright daylight. It's the like.
Well, we'll wait. We'll go to sleep at, I don't know, 8 PM or something.
We'll
Okay.
stay away at camp and Vice can just rest until nighttime and
Okay.
we'll cook.
So
that
you'll
kind of
spend
thing.
some time setting up camp. Do you want to do anything special in this period, since it's going to be like 12 hours? It's probably going to be longer than 12 hours before you...
No,
Like the next
Lael
day.
just died. I think we could all just do with some quiet,
Yeah.
nothing time.
I feel like none of us
Yeah.
would be like, I'm gonna go hunt, or like, I'm gonna enchant, or I feel
Yeah.
like Lael has just died. Like,
That's fair.
We're
Yeah,
probably-
yeah.
It just doesn't seem
He's
to
on
affect
about.
me as
Come
much
on.
as it affects you guys.
I'm alright, to
That's
be
because
honest.
you killed him.
How dare
God,
you? Agaria killed him.
Quiet, Ghost of Lael. You have no say here.
Dead men can't talk.
You're gonna forget at some point. What are you doing?
It always reminds me of that. Anytime I did airsoft at, in uni times, if you were talking, like telling your team where the enemy was whilst you were dead, and like holding up your gun and walking back to the spawn point, the marshals would shout at you, "Dead men can't talk," to basically be like, "Stop cheating."
Yeah.
I don't know why that stuck in my head, but now that's all I can think of whenever Auric speaks.
They should have punished them by shooting them.
Oh,
They don't have
yes.
guns, actually, the marshals.
Yeah.
You would think they would have guns. Okay, so a somber night comes around, it eventually moves to dark, and you've set up camp with plenty of time, plenty of notice. Is anybody going to take any kind of watch?
I will.
Roll me a perception check.
I'll keep one eye open.
Can I cast guidance
Yes.
or not? 27.
Okay, cool.
Oh, I love how Leo's got deceased. Honestly.
So you
I
spend
mean, I
your
don't love
watch-
that. I don't love that.
You spend your watch just generally looking around. There aren't really you're amidst the trees, but there aren't any sort of like big builds up of bush or anything like that. It's not You're not in the depths of a wood or anything, so it's relatively sparse, and then nothing seems to kind of cross anywhere close to the camp, and you eventually give way to Nemea's watch and then rest up yourself. It gets to about 6 a.m. the next day. It is the first day of the new year, and today is officially a Relueva. Yeah, so you'll wake up slowly enough.
Happy New Year.
I mean, we'll say around New
Happy New Year, Leo.
It's
I
gonna
wish
count.
you were here to see this.
Oh, look up.
You were so close to the new year.
So close to the New
He
Year.
was one day from retirement. Oh man. So Max, you now have your full health. As you recover from 1 point of exhaustion, you now only have 3 points of exhaustion.
How do you spell Relueva?
Arelueva is A-R-E-L-A U-E-V-A, I believe. A-R-E-L-L-U-E-V-A. It is the elven term. Well, everyone roll history.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I know
Disadvantage.
nothing.
Yeah, Vice, you have disadvantage.
I forgot even Leo died yesterday.
The same
Oh,
thing
damn,
both
that's
times.
pretty good.
Nemea?
Ah.
Can you hear me?
Ah.
Okay. Why does it sound like you are currently in the middle of
That-
like a dentist inspection? You kind of loosely remember the tale of Arelueva, which is that it was an elven tradition that
Sorry,
was
I just
eventually...
cut out. Sorry, all I heard was you and then
You.
nothing.
That was it, and then we just started doing the Soldier Boy song.
Yeah.
You can loosely remember the fact that Arelueva is a elvish tradition that was slowly taken on by all of Bela'Dun. The years have only been counted for 434 years. There are few elves in the world that have lived longer than that, beyond a agreed upon calendar. But pretty close to the start of that calendar, this tradition already existed. People began to take it on. It evolved over the years from that point onwards, and how it is celebrated has changed to the rituals of today. Livia, you're very aware of the fact that you're the only one who has been to Stalvin. Nobody else has any real knowledge of it.
This way.
She's really that happy?
She hated Lael.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't hate layout, but I am home.
Aww. Let's go. I guess.
Yeah. None of us were secretly in love with Leo.
Apart from the mayor.
Apart from the mayor. All right.
Sounds more like secretly in love with Leo. I don't know.
The one love note that Nemea wrote to Lael said "kill Agaria." So I don't know how true
he
their
should
love
have listened.
was.
Yeah, man. Come on, Nemea. That's yesterday's news. Come on, let's move on with life.
So, Livia, roll me history with advantage, and Nemea and Vice give me perception rolls as you guys walk towards Stalvin. The slow 3-hour walk, still somewhat lamenting the fact that Lael is dead, but knowing that there's quite a lot ahead of you here. It's quite a
Journey.
17.
10.
Okay, cool. So, Livia, as you're approaching Stalvin and it gets bigger and bigger, you see the large white wall that surrounds the outer section. You're reminded that your parents are here, and that they're likely going to be at the Temple of Varela. And for the sake of just making this easier, I'll give you a rough breakdown of what Stalvin is like, because you would know all of this. Give me another history check, Livia. Just the first was for remembering your family. I want to see how much you remember. Okay, cool.
Everything.
Um,
All the things.
who the fuck is putting red on it?
Red rum.
Oh, so it's
Red
Max
rum.
then. No?
No, it's not me. That's definitely Ulrich.
It's Ulrich because he's dead.
That's 100% Ulrich.
I will kick you, bitch.
I'm done.
Okay, so.
How do you do
Fuck's sake.
that? Sorry, I'm playing.
Players are the bane of every DM. It's a
I'm
shame
playing.
that they're required to play the game at all. So,
I'm genuinely done.
as you're approaching Stalvin and you remember your parents living here and the fact that they'll likely be in the Temple of Arella, you remember the breakdown of Stalvin and you explain it to the other two, I assume?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, Stalvin is broken down into districts. I wish I could cancel that. It has 4 areas, but they're not simply like split into quarters. There is a much bigger sections and much smaller sections. So the smallest section is the Royal District, which houses the palace. You're all aware of there being a king in the south. His last name is Anderblath, and he's just known as King Anderblath. He has a first name, but you guys don't really know it. Livia didn't roll high enough to know it.
What?
On
I
the
rolled a nat 20.
previous roll, I'm not going to give you 4 hours of content, and then we never play a game here. So, the Royal District makes up about 5% of Stalvin. Next area is called the Shadows, and it's generally a as it sounds, because it's named in a sort of colloquial fashion. It's the more kind of back alleys, secretive area, and it's been nicknamed the Shadows. It doesn't really have a proper title outside of the fact that it's broken off from areas that were once housing, and has got this nickname. That makes up about 10% of Stalvin. There is a section called the Acreage, and that is the predominantly residential and farmland area. That makes up about 25% of Stalvin. And some areas there would be shops and things like that. People that were maybe once farmers or couldn't afford a building in the final district, which I'll get to in a second, may have set up in the more residential areas, or potentially done so intentionally to try and maximise footfall. The last area is the biggest area. It makes up 60% of Stalvin. It's called the Market Square. And it's where almost all trade is. It's where the predominant taverns and inns are. Obviously, it's where most of the merchants are. And there are also a number of shrines, or full-on temples, or some sort of offering to the gods throughout Stalvin. Being such a huge capital city, it kind of houses everything. So, Livia, you're fully aware of the fact that in the Market Square is the Temple of Arella. As well as that, in the Market Square there is a ornate fountain right in the centre which depicts Aquis. And through Aquis it's kind of a like a throw at Gaia. Let me get my gods here. Gaia is the goddess of nature, but she has 4 children that represent the elements. Aquis represents water. Makes sense given that it's on a fountain, and that's kind of their the respectful thing to Gaia, despite the fact that it actually portrays Aquis. In the Shadows, there's an area which is an arena in Abaddon's name, Abaddon, the god of war. In the Acreage, the residential area, there is a simple shrine to Zeni, the goddess of luck. In the Market Square, there is another small, simple shrine to Seraph, the god of time. In the Royal District, there is an entire temple dedicated to Aurora, the goddess of beauty. Also in the Royal District, there is a medium-sized shrine to Lunari, the god of the arcane. In the Acreage, the residential area, there's a small shrine to Scree, the god of balance. There is an entire library in the Market Square dedicated to Lianos, goddess of knowledge. And there is a temple in the Shadows dedicated to Thanatos, the god of death. Livia specifically, you probably would have never been to the Shadows. It's a smallish area of Stalvin. The temple that you lived in was in the Market Square. short of potentially traveling out to the acreage to offer healing to like less fortunate people in the farmers and the like, you probably wouldn't have left the market square. It's unlikely that you've been to the Royal District. You would probably intentionally avoid the Shadows area.
Yep.
Nemea and Vice, you've never been here in your lives, and as the two of you approach the place, all you can really see is, despite Livia telling you all this, all you can really see is the looming huge white walls, the white stone that makes up the outer section. The closer you get, the more difficult it is to see beyond them because they're 3 or 4 times your height.
So we're just in awe at the moment. Yeah, like, oh,
Pretty
we're
much.
just looking up. Okay.
And as you get close to... Go on.
No, go on.
I was just say, as you get close to the gates, the large open gates that give way to the eastern? Yeah, the eastern entrance to Stalvin. You can see 2 guards that are stationed there. They are dressed in a kind of simple, well, they're wearing armor, but it has adornments of white that have the that kind of just throw back to the Stalvin itself. They also have the symbol of Stalvin on them, which I don't think I pulled over into here, but you have seen it when you went to Aegis. Yeah, here it is. Let me just pull this into here. I don't think I can upload it to Roll20, but I think it's in the journal? No. Okay, well I can do this and it'll appear on stream. This symbol. So that is the symbol of Stalvin. And for you guys, I will put it in Tales of Bela'Dun. You might recognize it if you have a good memory.
Yep.
Which I do not.
It's from the... It's the Stalvin army symbol that we saw in Aegis.
Yeah.
It was one of the people's groups.
Yeah, the convoy that you attacked was made entirely of Stalvin Guard.
Oh, that's Go-Go's.
Don't remind
Sorry.
You need to take your like ADHD pills or something. So, in terms of fucking
You're a
like,
dick.
you're the one cackling to yourself. The Griffins. So Livia, it's been an 8-month journey. Well, for all of you, it's been an 8-month journey from Moorhen to Stalvin. But it's been 18 months, Livia, a year and 8 months, because there's 10 months in a year in Bela'Dun, since you left. So it's almost 2 years since you left.
Okay.
As you get close, one of the male guards, a human, sees you approaching, and there's a kind of queue of people all kind of getting spoken to one by one and being waved in. There doesn't seem to be any kind of payment to pass through the gates like there was in Aegis. And you see this guy, he kind of looks at the 3 of you in a quizzical manner, and as you get close enough, he addresses the 3 of you collectively and just says, "Newcomers, are you?"
These 2 are. I'm from here, so I'm back home.
Oh, okay. Have you been gone a while?
Show them your ID.
Nearly 2 years.
Ah.
So, some time. Why, has much changed?
There has been some recent rulings that we'll need to make you privy to, and especially for your friends here, and he motions to the 2 of you. As per the rule of King Anderblath, magic is no longer permitted within the walls, and is punishable by indefinite imprisonment without trial. I don't know...
No magic at all?
Oh, wow.
No magic is permitted beyond the walls. Any sort of structure devoted to such things has been shut down, and any practicing of anything like this is punishable by indefinite imprisonment without trial. This is the word of the king.
What does that mean for the shrines and the healers of the shrines? You haven't shut down the shrines, have you? Or the temples?
Do you speak specifically of any temples?
Well, yes, the Temple of Arella. It's where my family are from. It's where I'm from.
Those who simply offer to heal the weary through natural means have not been affected. There have been some changes in the city beyond the walls. Certain establishments have been shut down as per this ruling, and certain shrines have been closed as per this ruling. The Temple of Lorella still stands, and I suspect you will find comfort there. As he says this to you, the other one kind of mutters half under his breath as he says it's the rule of the king. The other one just goes, more like the rule of Grimnir. And the guard that was talking to you looks at him and just like hits him in the arm and is just like, shut up. And he turns back, kind of grips the spear that he's holding.
When did the king issue these rulings?
This has been the way for a good year and a half now.
Wow, so not long after I left.
I have no idea.
Well, I did tell you I was gone 2 years, but whatever.
He didn't care.
Okay. Did something happen for him to bring in the rule? Was there some kind of...
This is simply the rule of the king. It's not to be questioned. Are you looking to head in?
Yes, please.
Excellent. Well, and he looks at... let me just roll something. Okay. He begins to kind of look around the group, but doesn't really catch anything overly important to him. And he just says, be sure to follow the rules as you head in.
I'm just gonna nod solemnly. Can we take I assume we can take the cart and the horse in. This is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. And it's now about 9:30 in the morning that you guys arrived and queued a little bit and then went in.
Okay.
So,
we'll go in.
Cool. This is where I have to reference the Lux book a billion times over, but Stalvin is so big it's over like 3 separate pages. Bear with me. Here we go.
That's some weird stuff, man. Why have they decided to do that?
How are they healing anyone? I mean, people must be having to flee the walls to heal themselves. Or do anything, really.
You would know that healing doesn't necessarily just come through magical means. Medicine checks and just generally using healer's kits, bandages and the
potions
like.
and things,
It's,
I imagine, are fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
They didn't really talk of potions. You guys didn't obviously have any on you, so you're not sure whether or not that's been affected.
Yeah, I guess they are magical items.
But simply like binding wounds and things like that.
Yeah.
Because Livia specifically is
stuff.
a cleric. Not everybody at the Temple of Arella is a cleric. They're just a follower of Arella. So they wouldn't have divine powers or any magics. They would just be offering aid.
Yeah. Well, if anything, I was unusual.
Yeah, I've accidentally just opened uTorrent. There we go. I use that strictly for legal means.
Oh, God. Shit, boy, you're a uTorrent. Okay.
So as you guys head in, you are in the market square. You can tell from the fact that it's bustling. There are people everywhere. You can see all sorts of buildings. There's loads of establishments. Plenty of places make up the market square there. All of them are quite big. Some of them are ornate. Some of them are simply put together. Most of them are white stone. Rather than kind of wooden structures, they seem to be quite well built. They're using this signature white brick to make up the majority of the walls and whatnot. There are simple just carts in the courtyard, and not too far from here you can see the fountain that I spoke about that represents Aquis, Gaia's daughter. I believe Aquis is a girl. Yes, she is. As you are looking around, a large, relatively slow-moving fellow comes toward you. He's wearing clearly well-looked after, but relatively simple clothing. But he is the biggest human you have ever seen. He stands at like 6.5, almost 7 feet. And is just huge, muscly, but clearly not as toned as he perhaps once was, likely due to his age.
Okay.
Whoa,
Whoa.
whoa, whoa!
He seems to be coming close to you guys, and as he gets close enough, just one sec. He looks at you all and says, Hello. It looks as though you haven't been here in a while or at all. Perhaps you'd like to hear the history of Stalvin.
Oh god, guys, it's just listen to him and he'll go away. Might have to spare a few coin.
She's from here, actually. We know the history of this.
I mean, I could just listen to you, Livia, and you could tell us everything we need to know,
I
right?
mean, I know, but this is their livelihood. This is their lives. Like they rely on people like us.
I mean,
Just-
he is a tall, 7 foot,
he's,
intimidating man.
he's muscly
let's
as
just-
well.
Yeah.
Like-
Here, just take my money. I don't care if you tell me.
I'll cover the cost. Just listen to him.
Okay.
He looks a little bit solemn, but he was kind of zoned out as you guys were having this conversation. He kind of shouted hello from a few meters away, and it carries on walking over to you as you like wrap this up. He says, "I'd like to tell you about Stalvin and what a great city it once was, but to be honest with
Well,
you,
yes, I grew up here, but my friends they know nothing of Stalvin. We're happy to listen to you if you want to tell us.
Please,
No,
please, oh, great tall man, tell us.
he kind of
us about
I'm
smiles.
just gonna glare at Vice. Like,
He smiles for a moment at the just the naming
Jovial
based on his
bard.
description. He looks at you and just says, "My name's Baal. I'm
I
a
thought you were
herald
gonna
now.
say Bob.
Do you have a
Bob.
twin, bro?
Barbara. I'm Barbara."
Yeah.
No,
Hello, Bob.
Baal.
hello, Bar.
I'm a herald
Baal,
now,
as in
but I
B-A-R.
B-A-H-L. Baal.
Okay. Oh, Baal.
To be
Okay,
sarcastic.
Sorry. There we
I'm just
go.
gonna glare at Vice like you're being stupid right now.
Oh, hey,
Like you're
listen.
embarrassing me in front of like my parents kind of vibe.
Okay.
I work as a herald now, but I used to see some adventuring days. It looks as though perhaps that's something that you've been doing.
Why, yes, that's us.
Well, and he kind of looks about himself, pulls out some papers. He's like, I'm supposed to tell you about Stalvin and what a great city it is, but to be honest with you, we've seen some troubles of late.
Is this to do with the new ruling that the king brought in last year?
The king has an advisor now.
Ah, and who,
Who's-
may I ask,
who's
is
that?
this advisor?
His name is Grimnir Wormjaw.
Sorry, could you write that down for me?
Grimnir.
He kind of shows you a
Wormjaw.
bit of like his old script, and it's like a jovial tale about Stalvin and how it's one of the longest standing cities of all time, and that the Anderblaths have been here since the beginning, and that's why they're part of the royalty. But he's just written over that script with just scribbles and rubbish, and there it says Grimnir's name.
So, seeing as it's your job to inform us of Stalvin, any chance you can let us know what's been going on? Like,
Well,
what's really been going on?
the city ticks over like it has for millennia, but since this advisor came, anything related to magic has suffered, and this happened about a year ago, maybe more now. Listen, I sometimes tell more joyous tales at a tavern near here that my friends run. Take these, and he hands you all like a flyer, essentially. And it says that it's good for 1 free drink at the Pint and Teller. Listen, come by later. Use these. The drinks are on me, essentially. The first one, anyway, is free. And I'll tell a more interesting tale. I'll be back
Sounds
there at
Good
about
friend.
later, early evening.
What's your name again? Sorry, Bob.
Bar.
Rob.
Ball. Ball. Thank you, Ball. you
Thank
very
you,
much
small
for
man.
your time. Thank you, big man.
And he kind of saunters off. He looks a little bit defeated, but you think maybe you've caught him at a bad time. So you guys are now sort of out looking over the pretty bustling market square, the biggest area of all of Stalvin. It opens out and winds down many paths and far beyond your visual range. Bala's headed off somewhere northerly from your current position, and has told you of a place called the Pint and Teller. But until then, you're basically free to do whatever you want. Livia knows the rough layout of where things are in the market square. Buildings haven't massively changed.
Okay.
What do you guys want to do? If you want, we can roll initiative and go in order. If you want to do separate things, I don't mind.
I'm alright with us just picking what we want to do.
Yeah, sure.
I'll follow what you guys are doing.
Well, I really want to try and find a blacksmith or a place that does armor.
Okay.
If possible. Do you know of anything like that, Livia?
Let me think about it.
You know of one in the market square, and you've heard about another one in the Royal District, but you've never seen it. The one in the market square is called Skullfist's Hammer, and you just know that a relatively aggressive dwarven fellow runs it, but that it's well known for being, well, both the smithies in Stalvin are well known for being incredibly intricate and capable of very superior works of armor, and potentially weapons too.
Yeah, I can think of a place. If you've got the coin, mind.
Well, I mean, I've got some coin. I hope that's going to be enough to get me what I need. So,
Well,
yeah,
we
sure.
can take a stroll on over and ask.
Yeah.
Things might have changed since.
Yeah. Let's take a stroll.
Okay.
Where is it?
It's in the market square. I won't give you specific directions because I'm not going to be able to remember specific directions to every single place. But it's not a million miles away from where you are. But walking the breadth of Stalvin would be like walking the breadth of London. So it's not going to be a relatively quick journey. Each building is probably a solid. Well, it depends on where you go. Some places are going to be next to other places, but some are going to be like a good hour's journey for you to get there. I would say it's more like the breadth of central London. Like you could walk the whole thing in a day, I would say, one end to the other.
Okay.
Let me just find the Discerning Merchant's Guide and the shop catalog. It's a shame the shop catalog isn't a PDF because then it would open next to the Discerning Merchant's Guide. But here we are. Okay, so if you guys, you're just all three of you heading there, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So as you all head over that direction, you pass a couple market stalls on the side. What is that noise?
Sorry, it's the kettle. I'll put on mute.
Cool. You eventually come across what is clearly a blacksmith in the distance, and there's a dwarf in there. You can see just kind of through the open doorway and the sound of heavy hammers on anvils. Bear with me. Okay. And as you get closer and closer, Vice up front, you can specifically see that he doesn't seem to be using a hammer at all. Instead, he seems to have some sort of elaborate metal gauntlet that he is slamming his fist down onto the sword that he's currently making.
Wait. So he is using his hand to forge this, essentially.
He's holding a sword on an anvil with the left hand holding the hilt, and the other hand has a big-ass metal gauntlet on it, and he's slamming that hand down onto the sword rather than using a hammer.
What the hell?
I see Skullfist's hammer. I see.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna stand there and just like amazed, like what the hell?
Each hit of the anvil is far heavier and more booming than that of what you're used to when you have generally approached a smithy in the past.
Boom.
Okay. Can I have a look around and see what wares he has?
Yeah, so as you get close, he has a few things on racks outside the front. And he essentially has almost everything you would expect at a smithy. From weaponry to armor to tools. But you would need to potentially head inside to see more intricate items.
Yes, please. Let me head inside.
Okay, so just as you get real close, but before he notices you, there's another on the anvil that clangs out and almost rings your ears slightly. And he turns towards you as he notices you afterwards and says, "Oh, sorry, I didn't see you." And you see he kind of slowly opens out his fist on his right hand. It's a dwarven fellow that looks to be about... I don't know, I've lost the entry. Here it is. How old are you, Vice?
31.
He looks to be about your age.
That is so rude.
And and as he notices you, you see that he opens his hand, and the whole gauntlet is actually fully like malleable. He has fingers up in there that he is clenching into a fist. It's not just one solid piece. And he kind of stretches his fingers out a little bit and looks at you and says, "You looking for anything in particular? I can do you some... I got some simple stuff out the front. I got some fancier items out the back."
Yeah. I'm looking for like shields, please.
Oh, certainly, I've got plenty. What's your price range? Because obviously I deal predominantly in Skoltan. It's very hard to get a hold. And he kind of
In
looks
what?
at it. Skoltan. You don't know much about smithing, do you?
No, what's Skoltan?
Skoltan, my friend, is one of the best materials around. It's stronger than steel, stronger than gold, stronger than most metals you've probably come across. It's mined in Dunballen, way up north. It's what my friend here's
Okay.
made from, and he kind of lifts his gauntlet and like moves his fingers slightly. Very hardy stuff, much harder than... When he kind of looks you up and down and says, "Much harder than anything you're wearing, friend. I can do you a shield out of Skoltan if you've got the coin."
I mean, yeah. I mean, it depends on what the price is, but I'll be honest with you, my friend. I'm new to town and I've been on a long journey, and I mean, I've only got about 100 gold available, so it depends on what you're willing or what's available at this
I
moment.
see. Well, I appreciate your honesty. Let me show you this way to our budget items. And he kind of leads you back out the door a little bit.
What do you call them?
Budget
Budget.
items.
Oh, budget items.
So basically his own land.
He shows you more of the stuff that's out front, and as you turn and he kind of like puts his arm, it's reaching around your sort of lower back because he's a dwarf and you're a human. But you see very ornate, very well built armor sets in the back on racks, as well as a shield in the corner that's like a sort of diamond shape. This is when drawing on the map is relevant. It's like this shape. And it's you can tell even at a glance as you're heading out the door that it's very well made. You could almost see runes inscribed around the edge as you head through the door. And he takes you outside and just says, "Everything you see out here is incredibly well made, but it's roughly the same price as what you'd get anywhere else. None of them bear my mark though. Well, these
none
do,
of them
but
bear your
nowhere
mark.
Nowhere else will bear my mark."
Right. Okay. So,
This is
is
quality
there- I mean, this is completely off RP, but is there a way that I can, that I know what the stats are, or
So a
what
standard
effect do
shield
they have?
is a +2 to AC, and everything you're seeing here is a standard shield if you're looking specifically just at the shields. But he has such a breadth of options that you could basically get a shield of any shape and size that you'd like, but it's going to be twice the cost of a normal shield because it's so fantastically made. This is the kind of ornate, well-made shield that would, like, you'd expect. This is a fast car, like, it's not a Ferrari, but it's like a nice It's like a Nissan 370Z. It's still like a mid-range car, but you're gonna look at it like it's pretty.
Okay. Right. Okay. I mean, how much are these going for?
I can do you any one of these shields, except maybe the huge ones over there for 20 gold.
Oh, really? Okay. So the shields that you had inside that were of better quality, like, were they going? How much were they going?
A shield made of Skulltan, you're looking at about 1,000.
No!
Bloody hell!
But they're not comparable, my friend. I can tell you don't know your stuff too well. I don't mind that. I'll sell to anyone, but that was my own voice. I'll sell to anyone, but inside
Wait.
are quality items.
Right. Okay.
You don't make
Right,
them very
well-
often either.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I need a. And they're all the same stats, is what you're saying, yeah?
All of the shields outside are the same stats. They'll all give you a +2 to AC. They're all 20 gold, but you could pick your shape. And whereas a normal shield would probably be like wood, surrounded by like an iron or a steel around the rim, these are all fully metal shields. They're all well made.
Okay.
They all have runes around the outside. Like you can tell these ones don't appear to be enchanted at all, but they're written still in like a dwarven script. And as if you inspect one, for example, if you were to pick up the nearest kind of standard circular shield, inside is a symbol of a fist that looks like the top of the fist has like a hammerhead.
Right. Okay. Cool. Let me just grab one of those then, please.
Certainly. What sort of shield are you after? I've got a few.
One maybe kind of like a shallow diamond shape.
Okay.
Nothing too dramatic.
I can do you that. Let me have a quick look here. And he kind of moves aside some standard circular ones. There's one that's almost like a Roman shield, like quite a tall rectangle shape but curved.
So if you've got the idea in your mind of kind of like the shape of like the Helian shield, the Hylian shield, it's kind of like it's a diamond, but it's not so dramatic. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah, like the top's flattened in a bit more, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just googled it now. Yeah, that's kind of a standard teardrop shield, to be honest.
Okay, cool. Let's
Maybe
go
a
for
bit
that then.
flatter and wider. He looks about what he has out front and just goes, can't see it here, but I did make something like what you're describing. Had a customer a while ago that wanted something in the teardrop shape but a bit smaller for their frame, and they never paid. Unfortunately, changed their mind in the end, but I still put materials to the anvil. Give me a moment. And he heads inside, and you hear like a bit of clanging, and he comes back out with a shield that is basically the Hyrulean shield shape.
Okay, great. Thank you. I will take that, and I pass over 20 gold.
Thank you very much, friend. You'll be the envy of anyone you go past who knows a thing about armor.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Cool. What was that sword as well that I found? Sorry, this is GM, by the way. What's the name of that sword or that I picked up from the house, the mayor's mansion? I'm sure I get the mayor's place.
You didn't pick it up.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I picked up the sword and I was like,
Yeah, he did. I remember.
You're certain?
I was like, you know, Leia would
Okay.
like.
That is
Yeah,
a-
he
something
said Leo.
about-
That is a +1 short sword.
Okay. Do you have any stats or any information about that?
I can get you the stats on a short sword, and a +1 just means that it gives you a +1 bonus to damage and to hit.
Okay.
So much better than your average short sword. Let me just find a short sword. Where is PDF? There it is.
I don't have a dagger anymore because I gave that to him. So let me just fill that in with a short sword. Was that +1 short sword?
It's a +1 short sword. So if a short sword would use dex. I believe it's a finesse weapon. So it uses dex to hit So you would add, say your dex is +2, this would actually be a +3. Are you
Okay.
certain that you're proficient with short swords? This isn't telling me, so I'm going to go to
It's a simple and martial weapon.
Okay, I'm almost certain that a short sword is a simple weapon. It might be a martial weapon, but it's because of College of Valor, you've got everything, don't you?
Hmm.
Yeah, so you'll be fine. Let me just find it, because it's not on those things.
So would it be attack? Oh, sorry, go on.
So, a short sword is a martial melee weapon, which you're fine with, you can do that. It's a d6 piercing, and it is a finesse weapon, so it uses dex. I believe finesse means you can use dex. If you want to use strength, you can use strength instead.
No, I'm
Your
good.
dex is higher, yeah? So,
Yeah.
because you're proficient with it, your to hit would be, what's your modifier on dex?
+4. It's 2.
So your
So I
dex is
get
+2.
+4.
Plus proficiency is
Yeah.
a +4, plus the +1, because it's a +1 short sword, is a +5 to hit.
Okay, cool. And my
it's a
damage and
D6 piercing damage +2 because of your dex, but that's actually +3 because it's a +1 short sword.
sweet.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a
Okay.
good short sword. Like that would run you a decent amount of money.
Sorry, it was a D6, not a D8. So
D6
D6 but
piercing.
+3.
+3 because of your dex and the fact that it's +1.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else I can help you with?
No, thank you very much for that. Appreciate that.
He kind of says, "Oh, thank you," and then looks past you a little bit. And he's like, "And your friends? Can I help you, ladies?"
No, I'm fine, thank you for now. I might come back and visit in a few days.
Certainly.
And I'll
I'm
smile
open
sweetly.
throughout the day. I'll be here.
Me too. I'm fine.
Have a good one.
You-
And he turns around and heads back inside.
I just think I'm a dick. I've gone shopping immediately as you got to.
Okay. Do you guys want to do anything else?
Leo was not wrong. I am a dick.
Oh.
Why are you a dick?
Huh?
Why are you a dick?
Because I've gone shopping pretty much immediately after,
Oh,
coming here
while
after
grieving.
his death.
Yes, you are an
Yeah.
asshole. That's true.
I mean, I've literally written right here in the session plan, as the group head through the gates, they'll be on to the market square where they'll be able to essentially do what they want and spend coin as they see fit.
Voila. We see fit.
Yeah. So, for the sake of you not knowing specifically what's around you, and the fact that Livia nat 20'd on her history check to remember specifically what's in Stalvin, let me give you the rundown. There is a... this is an inn, so there's an inn, a second inn, a third inn, 2 smithies, but you're not too sure about the other one, Livia. There is a Fletcher's, there is a Enchanter's, there is a restaurant, there is a jeweler's. You've heard tell of a place that people go for unscrupulous companionship, but you've never been. There is a tavern in the Royal District that you've heard of as well, but you don't. It doesn't sound like your kind of place. This is all at Livia, because this is Livia remembering. You can see from where you roughly are a place called something that has like a W on it, but you can't see specifically what it says from here. That you remember being a kind of all-purpose merchant shop. There is a leatherworker's. There is a bakery. You've heard tell of a place amidst the shadows where people go to fight. There is a tailor's, there is an alchemist's, and then there's the various merchant stalls in the middle of the market square. So if any of that rings your fancy, tell me where you want to go and I will tell you how to get there.
The enchanters?
Okay.
Sure. Chant as we go.
Okay, so the enchanters was on the first page, I think. Yep. Okay, so Livia, roll me history, because I'm not. This wouldn't have been a place that you have ever been. So give me a history and we'll see what you have sort of heard rumor of. Okay.
Not much.
So you know that there is a shop dedicated to enchanting. You know that it's generally considered incredibly upmarket and expensive, and as a result, you kind of consider that it's probably in the Royal District. Unfortunately, you've never been, and you don't know it by name or specific location. At the same time, the Royal District isn't huge, and the palace makes up a good portion of it. So, like, if the Royal District is 5% of Stalvin, the palace is 1% of that. So, like, as in there's only 4% left. Not, there's 99% left of the 5%.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah. So that it wouldn't take you ages to search for, and you could just happily ask around if you wanted to. But you've never been, you don't know exactly where it is.
Okay.
Would you mind if we made our way there, Livia?
No,
I know you don't know specifics.
we can go.
But...
And then once we're done there, I might head to my parents. If you guys want to come, or you guys can go to their inn, and I can meet you guys later. It's up to you. But
Well,
yeah,
would
sure.
you-
Let's go to this place first.
Would you prefer to meet your parents alone, or would you
No,
like
no,
this
no,
day
not at all.
to
I'm not bothered.
reconnect with-
It's completely up to whatever you guys want to do. You're more than welcome to come, or
I'd love to come meet with you. That'd be nice.
well, yep.
Right?
Well, let's go. Let's go find
Yeah,
this
I mean-
enchanters first, shall we?
Yeah, I'm quite happy to do whatever, but I thought after you not seeing your family for so long, maybe you might want to have a bit of private time. But it's totally up to you.
It's about 10:30 in the
down.
morning at this point.
Well, I don't see us leaving Stalvin in the coming hours or days even. I'm sure I'll have plenty of time to come see them, and I'd like you to meet them.
Okay. Off to the
Okay.
enchanters then.
So you guys head to the Royal District. It takes you a number of hours to kind of walk over there because you're passing through a large section of the market square, and you notice that the closer you get to the Royal District, the further away you seem to be getting from the wider open areas of Stalvin. You can almost see the wall again, which leads you to believe that the Royal District is the opposite end of the acreage and the shadows from the market square. Likely because nobility aren't looking to be seen near the general farmland and riffraff. It also gets cleaner the closer you get. And as you finally reach the kind of bridgeway to the Royal District, there is another wall inside Stalvin. It doesn't seem to be manned, though you do see patrols of several guards as you're walking around. They don't really pay you heed. One of them kind of looks your way, Nemea, but only for a moment, and then looks back and carries on. You all pass through an ungated kind of archway in this wall and head on through to the Royal District. The main thing that is distinctive about this area from the rest, aside from the fact that it's just simply kept cleaner, is the fact that the buildings are taller. Everything is generally a much bigger place, and the what's the word?
Atmosphere, vibe.
No, like the decorations. The decorations for Arel Lueva are cleaner cut and stop being cloth and start being like fancy white silks being hung from windows where there's plants in plant pots and glass in the windows rather than just being wooden shutters and ornate doorways that have differing door fronts instead of just being sort of swing open cowboy style doors into some buildings or the simple same looking door on others. Everything is expensive and clearly not only well looked after but like well thought about. Everything you see was probably a choice by somebody with the coin to make that choice. You get lost in what appears to be kind of residential buildings, but they're all huge. Given that you don't know where the Enchanters is, all you can do is kind of find these kind of buildings. There are people walking
Can we
around.
stop and ask for directions from someone?
Yeah.
Someone friendly looking?
Yeah, so you see a human wearing all but kind of a suit, and he seems to be just slowly making his way from his home to somewhere else.
Excuse me?
He looks over at you and is just like, yes?
We're trying to find the Enchanters?
Yes, I thought perhaps you were lost. It's just back the way you came to the market square.
I was in the market square, is it?
What is, sorry?
The Enchanters. It's in the market square, you said? Sorry?
Oh, there's not been an enchanters, dear girl, for quite some time. I think perhaps you may find what you're looking for back at the square. And he kind of looks as though he's maybe going to turn around. He's kind of looking for you to... He's giving you the time to speak still if you want to.
Is there anyone or anywhere we should specifically go?
If you're looking for enchantment... Is that correct?
Yes.
No, sorry, don't worry. Don't mind me.
Very well. And he turns away and carries on his journey.
Once he goes off, I'm gonna look at these two and be like, shit! No magic?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No magic at all.
Well, did you not look at his face when he was like, it's not been around for quite some time?
Ah, of course.
Yeah, but why did the other guy not tell us? I mean, honestly, we didn't.
Why did you ask?
It's true, but he said. I mean, he should know. Come on, like.
He's not going to tell us every building that's closed down, is he?
Which other guy? Because didn't you...
Look, Baal would have told us.
Oh.
7-foot man, tall man. He would
I
have told us.
wanted an enchanting teacher. That's all.
Oh man.
I guess I'll wait for the next city. I thought Stolven would be my big break.
You should have asked what the name of the person was that.
Yeah, but I thought he might, they said the no magic thing or arrest.
know,
I thought he might run off
that.
and tell the guard or something. Like, that's really what we need.
I get that. I mean, why don't we find Baal again and ask if he knows the name of the person?
Well, we'll find him at the inn when we go to the inn. Why don't we go to? We should go to the temple. We should go speak to my parents. They should be able to.
Yeah,
tell
let's
us
go.
if-
Let's go
Yeah.
see a place. I mean,
That's a better idea.
Been so long. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Lydia, I need a response to the WhatsApp that I sent you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I guess I will try and navigate.
Yeah, so you head out of the Royal District happily enough because you didn't make it that far in before you asked somebody, so you're able to re-find the market square. And given that you lived here your entire life prior to leaving, you know the way to the temple happily enough. As you get close to it, you can see a large stone smooth effigy of Arella, the White Lady. It's made from the purest white stone that kind of adorns the buildings as well. But you'd expect most sort of stone statues to be a bit grey. This one has intentionally been made from a very like white stone to reflect the colour that she's represents. Yeah, that is represented of her. I don't know what the wording is.
Yeah. But you know what I mean.
It's quite a big-ish building. It clearly has several floors other than just the ground floor, and essentially everyone inside is wearing Livia's tabard made into a complete gown, essentially. They're not all wearing kind of dress-like clothing. Some of them have like a simple top and simple trousers, but with the tabard over the top, and it's much wider. Livia's was kind of fitted to fit her armor, whereas these people just simply represent Arella. And there's a calmish gentleman that greets you at the door, and as you pass on through, he's like, "All will find healing inside. All are welcome."
Do they have a name? Because my parents run this place. Do they have a name? Like, only like for a teacher, it'd be like a headmaster's.
They run this place?
Well, that was my understanding. No, not yours, apparently.
Let me check.
Burn!
Your parents have been demoted.
Apparently.
I don't know about them running the place. They're definitely like they've been here a long time, so they would hold some clout. Not that there's much clout to be needed in this kind of place.
Oh!
Well, you're just gonna say
Well,
that
you tell me then, because I don't know.
They're clout
high-ranking officials, not clout. But Jesus.
Ah!
So the man at the door just welcomes you through, and another person Another kind of follower is inside, and he looks at you kind of strangely, Livia, and says, he calls you by name, just like almost under his breath, and then looks at you for a moment longer. There's a halfling man, and as you carry on walking through, seeing like there's a person over to the side with people tending to their leg. Looks as though there might be blood over there, from what you can tell. And this halfling looks at you across the room and just goes, "Livia."
Yeah.
And you recognise this halfling man to be somebody called Finley, a follower of Arella that you remember from when you were in Starvin last.
Finley!
That is you. And he comes on over. He has like long brown hair and kind of tan skin. One sec.
Is this to me again?
I was just typing something. Give me a sec. So he comes over to you and just says, "You're back. It's been so long."
Well, yeah, it has been a while. How is everyone? Where are my parents?
Oh, they're just at the back. Perhaps upstairs. And he turns around and kind of looks at the back of the room, and there's a few people milling about, but he doesn't see your parents. And he's like, I can get them for you if you'd like.
Oh, would you mind? It's been so long.
Of course. Stay right here. And he kind of looks at you, Vice, and the mayor is like, hello, and then turns around and goes back to the stairs. There's like a spiral staircase through a doorway in the back end of the room. As he disappears for a minute or so, you guys are left by yourselves.
I'm just gonna look at those two and be like, "That's Finley.
Okay.
He's great."
This temple is gorgeous. Did you really grow up here?
Yeah, it's quite something. We live humble lives, but you don't mind so much when you grow up in a place like this.
Oh, okay. So, like, where are your parents then?
Wherever Finley's gone to get them from, I guess.
You are aware, Livia, that the upper floor of this establishment is rooms. They let people stay here. They let kind of homeless people, if of the few that there are, because it's not difficult to sleep over in the acreage side.
They're probably upstairs in the rooms.
Like, it wouldn't be impossible for you guys to stay here if you wanted to. The option would be there. Olivia would know that. So a few moments pass, you have this conversation, and Finley comes back down and says that they're just coming down. I have to get on with a few things. They won't be long.
No, of course, that's fine. Thank you, Finley.
Thank you. Good to see you again. He lifts up a big pile of papers and then takes them to the back of the room and starts sorting something in a chest at the back down there. Not too much.
So what is Finley? Is he just a follower that kind of works here and helps out and stuff?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, not so much works here. It's kind of the case of like nobody really works here. If you choose to follow Arella and become devout to the point of just tending the temple, then the offerings made to the temple, some of which would be simply left there as a symbol of the people's offering to Arella. Some of them are spent to, or some of the coin rather, is spent to house and maintain the place, feed the followers, but they don't take more than enough to sustain them, essentially.
To live, yeah.
Yeah, they don't live bad. Like, they eat well, and they eat nice things, but they wouldn't like once a month go out to the restaurant in the Royal District or something like that, because that would be a waste of the coin. It's all to the goddess of life.
Yep.
So, since they're your parents, Livia, what do Thea and Zuko look like as they come down the stairs?
So I'm the spitting image of my mum, except she is blonde and I'm brunette, I think. Or is it the other way around? I can't remember what I am. It's been a while.
Second page of your character sheet.
No. Decided to not keep that. Oh, no, I did. Yeah, no, I have brown hair. So, she's an older, kinder looking version of me with really light blonde hair. A lot longer than me. Comes down to sort of like halfway down her back. It's very long. My dad's an old guy. He has my hair and the same colour eyes as me, which I believe are green. Yes, they are. We don't look too similar, but we carry ourselves in the same sort of privileged is the wrong word, but like we're confident. So like I have a confident walk and I'm sure of myself and my purpose, and he sort of has that same aura about him. My mum has much more of a kind and giving motherly vibe to her.
You notice that most people in the temple are. They have like an air that you would think is either arrogance or nobility, but in fact is just the belief that what they're doing is right. They have faith.
Yes. Yep. And it shows in a sort of confident way, I guess.
Okay.
They're all very certain of their actions.
Yes, this is correct. So that's what they look like. My mum is slightly shorter than me, and my dad is very tall. Not abnormally tall, but like 6 foot tall.
Yeah, he's not Baal's height. So as the two
No.
of them descend the staircase, your mother
Wait, hang
sees
on.
you.
Oh. How tall is your mum?
12 feet. She's a giant. She needs to be destroyed.
Hey! No, she's like 5'4", 5'5".
Okay.
And the dad's 6 foot.
Oh no, she's a bit taller than that. Say 5'6". Sorry. I don't want her to be
Okay.
small. I've just remembered someone who's 5'4", and that's too small.
So as the two of them come down the stairs, they see your mother sees you, Livia, and just begins to cry and runs over to you and gives you a hug. And then
Hey,
through
Mom.
tears, as she's kind of hugging you, she just says, "You've been gone for so long."
Not that long, really.
Much
How are
longer than
you?
we were expecting.
Well, you thought I'd be gone for like 2 months?
I hoped you'd be gone for something short, like 2 months. Then your father joins the two of you at this kind of point and just puts a hand on your shoulder and smiles down at you. Puts his other hand on Thea and looks at her and just says, "She's been doing Aurella's work, dear."
Well, I made some friends along the way. Mum, Dad, this is Vice, and this is Nemea, and we've
Hi.
been together
Hello.
quite a while now, and I've looked after them as they have me.
Thea gives you a hug, Nemea, and at the same time Zuko shakes your hand, Vice. He has a strong,
You
assured
have a
grip.
strong. I was gonna say you got a strong grip there. Ah!
And Nemea, this hug is almost as if you were Livia. She hugs you as though you were her daughter.
I like grip tighter because I'm still upset about Lyell. So I just grip tighter and I'm just like, oh, this feels like a true mother hug, and oh, lovely.
You have
I
to
feel like I
all eat
need
with
to-
us. We can have something made.
Yes, I think that would be nice. Unfortunately, we were traveling with another. We had another adventurer with us. His name was Lael, but unfortunately, we came across some problems and we lost him yesterday.
She
So,
looks kind of solemn again and just looks at you, Livia, and says, "I'm so sorry, dear."
It's been a hard day or two. So yeah, to spend some time with some family and say some prayer, if you wouldn't mind, would be
Of
welcome.
course, you're home now. We'll make sure everything's okay. And your father kind of looks at you and like takes a deep breath, almost kind of shrugs a little bit, and it's just like, sometimes the will of the gods is unknown. Please, we'll make sure that something's made. And he turns around and like motions to an area at the back where there's like a wider table. There are some other followers there that are just kind of quietly eating. And as your father approaches Finley near the back, he says to him, "Do we have any of the good meats still available?" And Finley just says, "Oh yes, I think so. There's quite a few. We stocked up for the moment and won't need to."
Oh,
purchase
Dad, we
anything
don't
more."
need anything fancy. Just standard dinner's fine.
Come now, dear. It's been a while. I'll make sure that something good is made.
Thank you.
Do you
I'll
guys?
sort of roll my eyes as if in like I'm never going to win this, so whatever.
It's about midday. You guys could stop for lunch if you wanted to.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
good.
we'll stop for lunch and then we can. My idea is to talk to them about what's been going on over while we eat at the table.
Okay.
Yes.
So they bring down some food for you after going into a back room. There are a few other people, kind of people come, people go. Some people speak to some of the various followers off to the sides. Some of them saying things like, kind of like general, not A&E, like the sort of mild ailments that you would get from people just like going to a doctor's appointment, like colds that they've had too long and stuff like that. And most of the proceedings happen with a few copper put in a bowl, and then the people sort of taking a moment, laying their hands on the afflicted areas, and just sort of wishing for Arella's intervention and hoping that this person will be bettered. None of them leave immediately healed, but they all leave happy that something will come in time.
Raise spirits.
Yeah.
I'm going to show Nemea and Vice to like where they can sit because I know where we're probably going to eat, and then I'm going to go off and help whoever's like getting the food and bringing stuff out.
Yeah. So Finley's doing a lot of the cooking, but your father has begun to help him. As you assist, they just go back into that standard thing of you previously assisting, where your father begins to pass you plates and shows you where the bread is and points out a knife for you to cut it with to prepare it and things like that. Nemea
Yep.
and Vice, are you guys doing anything, talking about anything whilst this is happening in the back?
Yeah.
No, I just want to like say to Vice to take it easy because he's still exhausted and like make sure he doesn't do anything reckless.
Like
And
stab
that
somebody
this
in
is
the
our
stomach?
time to recuperate and
Okay.
just
Thank you, Nemea. Thanks for And are you doing okay as well? You doing all right?
not really. I feel like it was my fault that Lael died. So
No, you shouldn't think like that. Honestly, it was we're all to blame in one way, but it's what's happened's happened.
yeah.
It
Yeah,
was your
let's-
fault.
what was that?
Dead
What
man,
was
no
that?
talk. So as you guys have this
Haunt me, Leo. Haunt me.
Fuck you, ghost.
Piss off, ghost. As you guys have this conversation, Livia in the back, you're kind of asking Zuko about what's going on, and he explains to you that the main guy that used to run the temple here left a while ago, with the intention of bringing more followers to the temple, and that he's kind of gone on a bit of a pilgrimage, and that you generally wish him all the best. Sorry, one second, just pouring a drink. That the person that you met at the door, whose name is on a list, bear with me. Whose name is Udvon. You remember the name when your father says it, but you didn't recognize him at the time. He just says that he has been kind of taking on more and more work, and as a result probably looks a little bit more gaunt than he used to a couple of years ago. But he's the most senior person here since the previous kind of leader, if you like, went out on this pilgrimage to recruit more people. Essentially everybody kind of answers to him, but there's nothing to answer to. Everybody just gets on with it here. They kind of know what they're doing. Zuko and Thea, being like long reigning members, hold, like I say, a bit of clout, and people just generally do what they say. Finley especially, who's a slightly newer member, but still been here a long time. Everyone just kind of helps everyone out. There's no real leadership, but there isn't really much need for one. It just kind of runs without question, and that's how you remember it. I don't know if you're still muted or something, but like some sort of confirmation would be nice.
Yes. Very lovely.
Okay. I didn't realise you were looking for confirmation. Sorry, I thought you were just telling us.
Yeah, sure. So you come out with the food, and everyone sits down to eat. Those that weren't already. Do you guys want to talk about anything specific as the meal proceeds?
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
I just want to. Well, the advice can go first. I've done a lot.
No, it's okay. To be honest, my question probably is fitting. Probably shouldn't come from me anyway.
So when we came in, Dad, we saw the herald, Ball, I think his name was.
Ball, yeah.
Well, and obviously the guard when we came in, and they all alluded to this change of rules. No magic, and multiple places being closed down, and apparently there's a new like advisor to the king. What's been going on?
He's passed through every now and then.
Yeah, he seemed nice.
Not often you see Goliaths in the city, and not often you see them at all across Bela'Dun.
Mhm.
There's been a few things since you left.
Oh,
I'm afraid.
so that's what he is. I did wonder why he was so big.
Oh, Goliath. Okay.
A few things have changed since you left. Yes, and they do seem to have come with the appearance of this advisor. I can't remember the name exactly. He never leaves the king's side.
Premier?
That's it. Thank you. From what I'm told, he doesn't leave the king's side and has advised him for around a year and a half now. It was maybe not long after the start of that they decided that magic in Stalvin was too much of a risk and begun shutting down all of the establishments to do with magic. Some people lost their jobs. Fortunately, they didn't prevent them from returning to those locations. They live above them, from what I'm told. Who was it that passed by? And he kind of looks at your mother, who says, Silperin, a lovely lady, half-elf. She used to run the, I think it was called the Sanguine Sand, until they shut her down, of course. And Zuko is just like, yeah. I remember when she came by, she was nice. It's a shame. That's
What caused this?
Nobody really knows. To question the word of the king is to face the wrath of performing these magics yourself. We don't hold the same sway with Orella as you do. Blessed as we are to have you. Unfortunately, that's done as well. The temple stayed open as a result of the fact that we offer little more than bandages and a respite from the weariness.
I just don't understand it. It seems so unprovoked and unnecessary. Magic was a part of this city as much as anything else.
It was.
Sorry, can I ask, like, other than magic being stopped in this city, has anything else happened that seems very out of the ordinary?
Well, the guards are certainly tetchier. They respond to a bit more of a slight, whereas before they perhaps would have tried to have found the bottom of a situation. It's become a bit more of a ask questions later situation. We don't get many of that around here. We mostly keep to the temple, and we help where we can. Though, to be honest, given the kind of place we frequent, the kind of place we have here, we catch the aftermath more than the actual event. Your mother looks sad for a moment and then kind of perks up a little bit. She's like, but we're always happy to help.
Can I insight check them?
Your own family, yeah, roll it.
Feel bad.
Nope.
Sure, do your
Families lie
snaky
to each
roll.
other all the time. Oh dear, terrible.
They both seem as genuine as you can tell.
Okay, cool.
Can I insight check them?
Yes. That will be all.
I will check. I will insight your own family.
Your own friend's family. You too may make a snaky insight roll. It's 10. You lose.
Lael judges you from the afterlife.
Come on!
21, nice.
Disadvantage.
Oh yeah, you've still got disadvantage.
Oh, come on! Why are you saying it, man?
You have
Sorry.
exhaustion.
Oh, don't cheat.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Me too.
Okay, still good.
Two roll game.
So they're both liars and they're scorpion people, and you all die. They
What?
seem genuine from what you can tell.
This time we're not meeting. I'm shooting them in the head with my crossbow.
You would fucking not fall out.
No, they both seem genuine from what you can tell. Zuko's a little bit more highly strung than everyone else here. You can tell that Thea is genuine. She's quite loving and open, and Zuko has a bit more of an air of like things need to be done properly. Yes, we're a temple in the name of Arella, and we're here to offer aid, but you know. You can tell the difference is minute, but it's the kind of difference where, like, if a drug addict came in, Livia's mum would help them regardless. Livia's dad would help them whilst judging. And that's kind of the main difference between the two of them.
Yep.
Okay. Can I change the subject, please?
No.
I'm sorry to bring this up, but I've been traveling a long distance, and I've been looking for someone, and I just wanted to know whether or not if anyone like this has passed through, maybe the temple or anything. And I pull out the page and I show them the picture.
Picture of Fina.
Picture of Fina, please.
Okay, then I will roll history checks. So the two of them, despite having no real stats, they both rolled very high. The two of them see the picture, and for a moment, Thea looks at it and is just like, and Zuko looks at it and is like, I know her. She's been here. She came with a few people.
Yeah?
What kind of people?
Not my kind of people.
What kind of people?
And what do you mean by that?
Bad people.
A number of people came through, this girl in tow. She seemed to be amongst them, but there was something about her that was unwilling, but it didn't come across. Obviously, it was underlying.
Okay.
I wasn't comfortable with the arrangement they seemed to have, but it wasn't my place to pry.
Did they come in for healing? Were they injured?
They claimed to come in to simply discuss the goddess, and to be honest, I felt as though I was being mocked a little bit. Short of asking them to leave, they happened to leave just as... Well, I think they could tell I was starting to be riled slightly, and that's when they took their leave. The girl... And then he kind of thinks for a moment, and Thea cuts in and just says, she seemed like she wasn't enjoying it, whereas maybe they were. And he says, yeah.
Enjoying what?
Okay, so wait, hang on. Was she captive, or was she there freely moving amongst them?
She moved freely, but
Not happy
something about her that said to me she was not truly free.
Sorry.
How long ago was this, Dad?
That's a good question. I keep a journal. I could check.
Please, anything would be helpful right now.
Certainly.
This is an old friend of Vice's who went missing, and he's been looking for her.
Give me a moment, and
I'm going to Vice with like these slightly wide eyes, like I'm not telling them you got married.
I look at you like you don't want to tell them about us. I'm joking.
But our love. Give me a sec as I pull up the timeline. It's a good thing I fucking wrote one because it's become relevant. Blah 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 blah. So.
Dun dun dun.
The music is so fitting for this.
Zuko gets up and moves away from the table, and you can see that he's basically finished all of his food, which was a much nicer than expected, gruel-looking but actually well put together chicken soup. It's quite a thick grey soup. It doesn't look appealing, but it tastes much nicer than you were expecting. And it was served with plenty of bread. Very very nice. Like a high quality starter, but served in kind of main dish quantities. He's eaten all of his. He stands up and heads upstairs, and he comes back down, rifling through a small book that's held together through simple leather bounding. And he looks at you all as he's kind of penning through this. Bear with me. I really wanted to take all of these places out of this book and list them in a way that I could like Control F and everything, but I didn't have time, so they're all in here instead.
While he's looking through his while he's gone upstairs to get his journal and is then looking through his journal, I'm gonna go and sit next to my mum and like put my arm around her.
Okay.
And then be like, I need a favour.
What are you after?
Of course, dear. Anything. What can I help you with?
I'm sort of gonna look down at myself and be like, I don't have my tabard anymore.
She kind of looks at you and she's like, well, that's kind of evident, dear, but I thought perhaps it was in a bag or something.
No, when we lost Lael, we were in a shut up. we weren't in the best of locations, and we had a little to go on, and it was the only thing that seemed suitable to use for wrapping.
It's okay, dear. You don't need to explain. I could.
Good.
Would you like one similarly tailored to the previous one? It was a bit of a unique shape, if I remember correctly.
Please. Are you calling me fat, Mum?
So, everybody in.
I'll have you know that I've lost weight while travelling.
Everyone in this place is wearing clothing that's sort of that shape, right? With their feet being like here. And the tabards they wear just go over them like this.
It's in that unique shape.
But your one is like this. Because it fits. You see the central. No, so the square one is the tabard that they wear. Livia's one is kind of a more tapered and then long central piece because it fits in a way over your armor and then between your legs that doesn't get in the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can have the
It's
square
shorter
one,
and slightly thinner to so that I've got.
but they're
easier
doing
movement.
like what you had was more like this.
Yes.
So when she says, I can tailor it for you, she means I'll cut out these pieces, but in a fancy way that doesn't ruin the fabric, essentially. And maybe change the embroidering from here to here.
Yes. That would be amazing. Please.
Of course. It would take me the night, but I could certainly do it. I just need to cut the fabric and hem it.
It's fine. You don't need to do it today. Like you can, in the next few days or the week is fine. I don't want to make you stay up late.
It's fine, dear.
I feel a bit lost with that one.
We've plenty of time, and well, we're not incredibly busy. And she looks around, and there's only like 2 injured people being tended to by other people. And there's a couple other like just general passers-by there, but they've come to pray and sort of take some time. And you've already seen one guy kind of come in, sit for a while, eyes closed, almost in a meditative state, and then just get up and leave again and drop some coin in the bowl as he left.
Okay, I'm just gonna sort of like have a nod of thanks and sort of look at her.
How long
smile.
will you be in the city? Are you back for good?
To be honest, I don't really think we made any plans. See, oh, that reminds me. While we were away, I came across, and they're like go into my bag and like shuffle around and be like.
Your father comes down at this point, but notices that you guys are having a conversation, and you hear him kind of, as he's walking over, just be like, "Cork got this," and he looks up and just goes, kind of quiets, and then sits back down at the table and lets you guys all carry on.
This. I'm gonna give her my scrap of paper. With like
okay, yes.
Piece of.
Is that in your inventory? Oh, I've just fucked the whole thing. Hang on. Sorry, everyone. This is the thing to. Where the fuck is Roll20? There we go. That's how you make a black chocobo in Final Fantasy 14. And this is Roll20 as we all load back into Roll20. My bad.
God,
I was trying to
no.
click the top right of Roll20, and I clicked my bookmark for how to turn a chocobo black in Final Fantasy 14. So there we go.
Enjoy trying to do that.
Are you playing 14 at the moment?
I got a midnight blue one.
Me and Sev have switched to 14. Yeah, you may well have Nemea, but you're never fucking online, so who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Also, Nemea doesn't have any chocobos.
Oh,
Why-
sorry, Lucy. Okay,
Is
sorry.
14 the online one? Sorry.
14 is WoW,
Yeah.
but Final Fantasy.
Oh, okay.
MMO.
So think WoW and turn it into Final Fantasy, and that's what you've got.
Yes.
This!
So you show her the scrap of paper. I
And
can't.
I'm gonna like turn it over and show her the back, because the back, I believe, has the name of the
Was
book
it on
it's
the
from.
back? That's what I was about to say. I can't remember how you got
mhm.
the name of the book, but I knew you had it.
Yes, it was written on the back.
Yes,
like
it's written on the
sort
back
of
in a
school
kind
writing.
of like. Oh, I thought it was written in the back in kind of like you would where you would write what chapter you happen to be on. It said the name of the book. Was it scrawled?
Yes, yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I
so
imagine
it's
someone
like
had written
printed,
it. Wasn't
but
like
the whole book
printed.
is handwritten.
Yes.
Yes, all books are handwritten. There's no printing press in existence. So you
Now
show
whatever.
her the.
There is now.
You show her the scrap of paper. There still isn't. And you show her the back that says the book name, which is Divine Cognition and the White Lady, I believe. Is there any way for me to see the full title? There we go. Yeah, Divine Cognition and the White Lady. And she looks at it, and then she rolls.
Oh. Can I give her guidance?
No, because that would be weird in this situation. It also takes 6 seconds, and you've shown it to her, and she's immediately reacted.
Yeah, fine.
So she looks at it and she goes, well, it's clearly to do with Arella. There's no one else. It's called the White Lady, but I can't say I'm familiar with the text. It seems to speak of some sort of obscure prophecy. You just have this scrap of the page?
Well, yes. I initially I met this fellow while we were traveling, and he was a bit odd, I must admit, Mum. He was very strange, but he kept going on about how there was this prophecy and that someone had kept talking to him about it, and he knew about it, and then he ended up telling me about this prophecy, and then I got this.
He gave you that because you did the job with the merchants at Broker's Ridge. It was part of your payment was that he would give you the scrap of paper that he had.
Yeah, but I'm not going to tell my mother that.
Yeah, I'm just reminding you.
He gave me this so kindly out of his kind heart. And I just had this. I feel like
Seems very
Arella
strange.
wants me to continue with this.
You don't
I'm
think
going to look
that
at her in like
maybe-
a passionate way, like
Yeah.
I feel it in my bones.
You don't think that maybe you're one of these people, do you?
Honestly, I have no clue, but
Well, there's 5 of
this
them.
is the right path.
Only 3 of you. Well, if you feel that way, I'm afraid I'm at a bit of a loss. I would have told you to visit the libraries, but well, most of the texts outside of the Library of Lianos is shut down. I'm afraid. Kept inside the palace in the royal district. They consider
My face is going to like go into like horror and heartbreak all in one.
And she her face drops along with your expression. She's kind of just like, this new rule has meant that the mages libraries have been shut down as well. They disbanded all of the mage regiments in the guard and locked down the library when they did that. I'm afraid.
But I need to find this book.
Well, certainly the library would be the best place to start. I don't have much more about it. I don't know much more about it myself, but well, maybe it's from a simple book, and it would just simply be in the library.
I'm gonna look at her like, yeah, right. We both know that's bullshit, but thanks, Mum.
She
You're
looks
right.
hopeful.
You're
beyond,
right. The library is the
belief.
best place to start. That's what I'll do. And then I'm gonna look up at my dad like, sorry, I know you're back now. Hi.
As soon as you guys are kind of done speaking, he kind of gives it a moment, notices that nobody's talking, and he goes, "Cork made this for me," and he seems quite happy about the fact that he has like quite a well-made journal. You can tell it's very well made and ornate. It's almost like a book. which you just
It's
like notebooks
beautiful,
don't
that.
exist. It's like, you know, a well-made leather-bound book would be expensive. So the fact that he has this is abnormal for just a journal.
I'm gonna grin at him because I'm like, I can feel how much this is a small thing in the grander scheme of
Yeah.
things, but it's a really big thing to him, and it makes him really happy, and that makes me happy.
I did actually write down about your friend, the girl, 2 months ago it was, as I
Okay.
slowly transitioned back into his voice.
2 months.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at Vice. Like, what was happening 2 months ago? Where were we?
Where were we? Were we in Asia 2 months ago?
No, I mean, yeah. I'm gonna have a think about it.
Roll history.
Hmm.
I'll tell you where
Wait.
you
Plus
went
3.
to.
16.
16. Vice, do you want to roll it too?
At disadvantage.
At disadvantage?
Yeah. Right, 1 second.
Um,
Oh wait, what happened there?
Should I roll it too?
I tend to keep it to either one roll with advantage or 2 separate rolls for these kind of things.
Okay.
If you want to roll instead of Vice, but Vice has already rolled, that's cool. So 2
Fine.
months before Thana would have been Crescent. So when Crescent was happening, on a 15, we'll give you a bit of a rough memory, but I need to find Crescent. There's Crescent, and then that's Thana. So you guys were on the road to Aegis 2 months ago. You don't remember specifically what was happening? Oh, actually, no. No, sorry. You knew that you had roughly left Aegis.
Okay. I think we just left Aegis.
Yeah, because you weren't in
Right.
Aegis for ages, and then you travelled for a while, which is why my session plans jump a couple months. So,
If
yeah.
you say this in front of like her parents, they're gonna be really confused because they're gonna be like, how would you have possibly been there in that time?
That's a good point.
Pointing out your plot hole.
It's not really a plot hole yet.
Okay.
So neither of them massively respond because I rolled for them.
Okay.
What was it she said?
Lucy was just pointing out, if you were in Aegis roughly 2 months ago, how the fuck did you get to Stalvin so quickly? It's like a 4-month journey.
Yeah,
You
because of the
teleported half of
teleportation.
it.
Yes, but they don't know
I didn't-
that.
Oh, I see. I thought the
There's
mayor
only-
was asking. I was like, why?
Yeah, it's
What
about-
a
it's
stupid
about a
question.
4 months journey. If you had fast horses, 4 months walking, I mean, you'd have to have very fast horses, but 4 months walking would be 2 months ride. So it's not impossible, but they rolled a 4 and a 7, so they haven't picked up on it.
Okay,
I
good.
trust my parents. This is fine.
I was just designing to make your life
So
difficult.
No, thank you. That actually does help me.
Yay.
we So Vice, yesterday, we were in something Dawn Brokers. No,
Downward.
So downward.
Downwarden. We were in Downwarden. When
Yesterday.
all the stuff happened with Lael, and
Now I have to roll to see whether or not they know Downwarden.
Yeah.
And they both do. So your father immediately looks at you with a bit of confusion at this point, and it's just like, "Dear, that's a good 2 or 3 months journey."
yes, and Vice. I'm gonna look around and like check that there's no one like super listening.
No one's listening, but there are people nearby.
I'm gonna lower my voice and be like, Vice, found a scroll.
What the hell?
And we read it, and
No, please. And he like starts by talking quite loudly, and then goes quieter and leans into you a little bit as your mother kind of does so too, and starts to look worried. And he says,
I'm just gonna stop talking and sort of go, poof,
"Hmm.
and then just stop. Like, I don't really need to say more words.
There are certain
And then I'm gonna point at
things-
Vice and be like, why he looks like crap.
I'm just gonna look at you, Luke, and be like, what the fuck? I mean, what are you doing?
They're my parents.
I know they're your parents, but
We can
Like-
trust them.
oh,
After you guys
He's too
kind of
tired to
whisper
watch.
these things, your father just looks at you sternly, Livia, as if you're about to be told off, and just says, "There are certain things that are not okay within Stalvin at the moment, nor for a while, and there are other things that have not been okay for many years. I trust you have not been involved in anything like this, my daughter."
Yeah. Well, if you know, when, like, you don't like eating chicken, and then you eat a piece of turkey, and then afterwards you find out it's chicken. Like, were you really in the wrong?
you mean turkey? Oh, you mean
Like, you there was a piece of chicken, you ate it thinking it was turkey, and knowing you're not allowed chicken, and then after you ate the turkey, you found out it was chicken, and you're like, ugh.
He sits
But by then
back
you've already
and-
eaten it.
I've been fooled.
He sits back and looks angry, and at this point, Thea kind of puts a
I'm
hand
just
on
gonna
his
face
hand.
palm. I'm gonna face palm. I'll be like, jeez, Olivia.
The fact
why
that
did
Vice
you
looks
mention
so
that?
annoyed and just generally like, I can't believe this is happening at the things you're saying, Zuko
No,
kind
I've
of
just-
looks at Vice in a
I
sort of...
just met your parents. And that's the impression that you want to put on us.
Zuko kind
Oh,
of looks at Vice in an almost sympathetic way, starting to get the feeling that maybe Livia was more involved than she's letting on. And Thea puts a hand on his hand and just looks at you, Livia, and says, "I think maybe we should talk about something else, if that's okay."
Oh god.
Yeah, I mean,
I look over at Namea and be like, Namea, seriously, we need to leave.
from
We
from
need
now
to get
on,
out.
squiddly diddly clean. But yeah, we're here now. I really missed you both.
Your bed's
Love
still
you.
made
Why
upstairs?
can't I drink?
Have you got anywhere where
Does Vice
my
say that
friend?
out loud, or is that a...
Oh no, sorry. No, I've been spilling drink on my shirt all night. I don't understand why.
The more you drink, the drunker you get. The more you spill.
No,
that
no,
tends to
but
be
I
how it
mean-
works.
No, but it's been happening anyway. It doesn't matter.
It keeps happening to me.
It's just getting worse the more I dribble.
So, what are you saying, Livia? Sorry.
Have you got another? Have we got any other spare rooms too? And I'm just sort of gonna look at them like
Of course,
and be
dear.
like,
There's a number of rooms upstairs. They're simple, but they're available to you and your friends.
oh, you are the best. I've missed you guys. And I'm gonna
100
go give
gold
my
a
dad a
night.
hug from like behind.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
for your
you.
hospitality.
Like in a really clunky, I'm covered in like chainmail kind of.
Yeah.
Ah, you hate me,
He-
but you love
He
me.
kind of like grimaces slightly at the touch of the metal, but then like lets it happen.
Yeah.
So it's now about 2:30. I'll make it 3 p.m. It's about 3 p.m.
Okay. Well, I'll show Vice and Amaya their rooms, and then we might pop out. I think we agreed with Ball, that we were gonna catch up at the tavern.
Okay. That's fine. And you'll come back here afterwards?
Yes. We'll be back here later. Is the library open today?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. I might pop to the library as well before, because that thing I showed you.
Okay. You remember where it is? You
Mm,
remember where it is?
I do.
Yeah.
Mm, maybe.
She describes rough directions from here to the library.
I'm joking. I know where it is.
Okay, so you guys head upstairs, you find your rooms, happily enough. They are incredibly simple. These people don't lead impoverished lifestyles. They simply have, well, what you're kind of used to, of like a simple inn, if you like, when you don't pay very much for the room. It's just
I'm just going to show these two to the room and be
bed and
like,
a side table.
I know it's not much, but it's not sleeping on the floor, and my parents won't charge us, and we'll be safe here.
They didn't say they won't charge you.
Shut up.
Thanks, Maya. I mean, Livia. Thank you.
Can I go and put some? You said it was like copper inside that like donation
It
bit.
doesn't have to be copper, but if you have copper, you can put copper in the donation.
I
It has to be copper. It can be platinum.
yeah, no man, stop being cheap.
You
I
see,
said copper.
there's about like 12 copper pieces and 1 silver piece in there.
Okay, I'll put 30 copper in there.
Okay, big spender.
Fuck you
You put
guys.
30 copper in.
Fuck you guys. I'm generous.
I take it back out again. Fuck you all.
2 copper. Take that.
Oh my god.
No.
Let me show you how it's done, the mayor. I got 25 copper.
I'm just getting rid of the like decimal numbers after my gold value.
Don't know what you mean.
Okay, yeah, you put the coin in, and the guy at the front thanks you. I've forgotten his name.
Before we go up, can I talk to her mum first? What's her name? Thea.
Thea, yeah.
Thea.
Mm.
I just want to ask
Thea
her if she
Lightwood?
knows. If she
How
knows
old is
anywhere
she,
where
by the
like
way?
an enchanting teacher would be, or like what happened to the enchanting store, or
Okay.
like because I'm interested in magic.
Vice,
And that's what I was really
roll
hoping for.
investigation, and the mayor, she says to you, "Oh, it's a sad story, dear. Enchanting, you said.
Yeah.
Oh, perhaps not that bad then. Bear with me.
Man. Oh, I got disadvantage, don't
Ah, no, sorry, I was thinking of someone else. Benjamin does quite well actually. A proud man, very nice. But obviously the shop shut down. I think he did well enough for a short while to have the coin to permit a bit of a vacation. But with this new ruling, it's been closed, I'm afraid.
Oh, it's such a shame.
Benjamin Obstrick is the name. You will find him in Stalvin still.
Thank you so much, Benjamin.
What's his name, sorry?
Benjamin Obstrick.
Benjamin.
And if that sounds familiar to you, Sevi, there's a good
It
reason.
does.
Obstrick.
Obstrict.
Who's this
Thank
obstrict
you.
guy?
You don't
Yeah.
know.
Obstrict.
Was that a 5 on your trying to guess Sevi's mum's age, Olivia's mum's
Yeah, I
age?
put a disadvantage.
Yeah, that's fine. You have disadvantage. She looks to be Livia.
Well,
What
I
decade
don't know
is
how
she
wrong
in?
or right is he?
What like group? What even decade is she in? Is she 20 to 40 or 40 to 60?
I'm trying to decide if I'm
40 to
attracted her or not.
60.
You're trying to decide if you want to bang her or not.
If I'm attracted to her or not.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
God!
She's
Mortifying! You know how I said that she's like basically an exact replica of me, but older and blonde?
Livia may be attractive. How old is Livia?
Livia is attractive.
Well, there you go then. How old is Livia?
30.
Okay, so as far as you're concerned, Vice, this woman could be anything up to like 56, 55-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, take that, you punk.
Hey, listen,
Cougar.
Livia doesn't know that I'm thinking this.
Yeah, you can't read his thoughts. You don't have
Livia,
that spell
Get the hell
prepared.
out! Get out of my head! Alright, get out of my head.
I might have that
Huh?
spell prepared for you.
It's available. Cast it if you want to. You'll be immediately imprisoned, but...
How do they know?
Well, they wouldn't. Do it. Go upstairs into Vice's room, read his mind.
What are you gonna do? You gonna make me tell the truth? Huh? With
Yeah.
your magic?
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's
Zone
right.
of truth combined.
Why are you pulling
with
that
3
strange
thoughts.
face at my mum, Vice?
I
You-
mean,
you
wait,
don't
hang on.
notice
You
shit.
still don't know that this is
You
what
don't-
I've done.
You don't
You
notice
don't
shit.
know.
He's being a pervert and I don't
I'm
like
not
it.
being a pervert. You
You're
don't know
being a
what I'm
pervert! You're
doing.
checking out my mum!
You don't know what I'm doing. I'm just wondering.
I
He's
know
a
what you're
married
doing!
man.
Look, he's just standing there with a heart on it. It's nothing to do with you. Let's move on.
This is not okay!
But you don't know what I'm doing.
Yes, I
You
do,
know.
you pervert!
You know, like outside.
But
of
you're a
the-
pervert!
So, to interject slightly at this clearly intellectual meeting of the minds, do you guys head out to the market square at this point?
Not talking to Vice.
You have no reason to not talk to Vice.
You have no reason not
Well,
to talk
I
to
have
me,
a
right?
strange
You
vibe.
don't
No,
know
you don't.
That I
what
should
I'm
talk to Vice.
thinking.
Bullshit.
You don't know what I'm thinking. It's been a while, all right? It's been a while.
You're also still married, but carry on.
Yeah, but it's been.
He doesn't even know her
it's
full
been a
name or her
while.
parents or where she was born. That is the fakest marriage I ever did see.
Well, he's guessing she has your last name.
I meant his wife, not my
Oh.
mother.
What's Fina's last name, Vice?
Kavanagh. She
There you
got
go,
married
you're
to me.
married. Boom.
What was her original surname?
I was wondering whether or not you'd pick up on that.
Oh dear.
Pervert.
Anyway, you guys head out of the temple. The guy at the front... I swear I named him a moment ago. I gave him a name. What was his
Which
name,
one?
Olivia? The guy at the front that's... sort of...
Finley.
No, not Finley. Finley's
No,
the
that was the
halfling.
halfling.
Don't know what you're
I
on about.
said his name, but I don't remember it. Vinod, find his name. Find it in the VOD. Help me out. Anyway, as you guys leave... Is Vin still here?
No pressure.
As you guys leave, you head back out into the market square. I need everybody to roll perception for me.
Who's obstric?
Okay, I can do that.
I'll tell you
7.
what the obstric reference is at the end of the session.
Okay, good, because it's bugging.
I know, it will. It's such an old reference that I said, like I referenced it in the thing and it will come back. Is that a 10 is your perception, Olivia?
Yes.
Okay, Vice, disadvantage. You have many exhaustions.
There you go.
Sweet. Okay, so Vice. As you guys head out towards the kind of central section again of the market square, it takes time. As I said, the market square is fucking massive. But you know the center to be the fountain, the Aquis fountain. And it passes another hour as you come back to close to the center section of the market square. You're roughly in distance of the fountain from what you can remember. And you, Vice, notice a notice board. Not unlike the kind that you've seen, well, probably not in your travels since leaving Moorhen, but definitely in your travels on the way to Moorhen. It's not abnormal for a notice board to house, let's call them notices, that people are generally putting up missions and stuff like that, quests that are available for people to partake
Like a
in.
quest board, yeah?
Yeah, essentially.
No,
Okay.
they are notices.
Okay, I'm gonna go and take a look. I'm gonna go over there and have a look.
Okay, the rest of you going with him, or
Yeah.
No, I
fuck
don't
that guy
like
and
them.
leave him behind?
Hey,
Oh.
Livia, you don't know what happened there, right?
What happened?
Exactly. Why are you not coming with me? What's wrong with you?
Don't know, I got a weird vibe off you. I think Arella's
Oh,
talking to me.
I don't know. What weird vibe are you talking about?
Hmm.
And if
So-
anyone's acting weird here,
It's the mayor.
Oh, what
She's
you're
weirdly
on about.
quiet.
You pervert.
pardon?
Sorry?
Why are
So-
you calling me?
As you, so many things are not canon. As you head over to the notice board, it has 5 postings, all on different bits of parchment. Do you read them all? Do you just read one? Do you want to take any? Do you want to burn the
Can
whole
I
thing
just
down? Do you want to shit on it?
can I just scan them and see
Sure,
what keywords kind of?
So
come
it
up?
looks like kind of 4 of them have job postings, and one of them just seems to be a message that you don't really understand. Any specific one you want to look at? And chime in, Nemea and Livia, if you're doing anything, because you're here too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm gonna look over to the guys and say, "Hey guys, we got a job board here. Like, I don't know if we have any plans, but if we're looking to kind of make some coin and continue
Yeah.
with our
I mean,
journey."
we don't really have any
Advice,
solid
roll
plans.
investigation for me. And make it a flat roll, because I'm giving you advantage that's immediately cancelled out by your disadvantage.
Okay. 1 second. Was it investigation? You said sorry.
Investigation, yeah. Is your investigation a -1?
Yeah.
Oh, sucks to be you. Okay. You see something about coin, but it kind of matches what you were just saying. Livia and Nemea, what do you do?
I'm gonna look at the notices.
Okay,
Go
so-
one on the furthest
I'll find
right.
them.
Whilst
I'll go
Vice,
to the left.
Whilst Vice kind of skims them, the two of you look at them specifically. Livia, you see a posting here that says Merriman has a posting to buy unusual gems at 20% higher than standard price if they are unique. And it details the location that Merriman works at. It lists a place called the Sun and the Sea. The Sun on the Sea, specifically. But it doesn't say much more than that. It doesn't say what kind of place it is. It just says that Merriman will buy gems at 20% higher than the standard price if they are unique. And it says, find her at the Sun on the Sea. Nemea, you see a strange message that doesn't seem to match this job board. And it's just kind of a hastily written small piece of parchment that says, dawn is on the horizon. Those with the heart will know where to gather. Vice, as you continue to look over the remaining messages with Livia, let me just post that message into the Roll20. So Nemea, this is what the message said on the one you're looking at. The two of you go on to read a few more of the postings. There's 5 total. The remaining 3 say, Gaston is looking for a culinary challenger to prove that he is not the best chef around. 30 plat prize, 1 plat entry.
Oh my goodness, guys!
The next
But
one...
what?
Who's this guy named Gaston? He's looking for a challenger, a culinary challenger, I believe.
Oh my god, you
Um,
have to
but-
do it.
The prize is 30 platinum.
Ooh.
Wow.
30 platinum,
You
like.
sign yourself up, boy.
Who said?
that.
Ooh, like, who was that?
Mate.
Was that the ghost?
Yeah.
What was that? Say that again.
They said
Pervert.
sign yourself up.
Yeah, she said, you called me a pervert.
I didn't hear her call you a pervert again if she did, but I'm fine with it if she did. You think... I love that you've got to a point now where, like, normal conversation has resumed. Like, people are like, ooh, 30 plat, you should sign up. But all you hear is Sevi going, pervert.
It's like, she said,
The question is he hearing voices
Or
or
did
am I
you really
actually
say
saying it?
Ooh, 30 plat, sign yourself up, pervert. Only 1 plat to enter.
Jesus.
This
Oh, man.
specific posting does not list a location or any sort of establishment. It simply references Gaston.
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 The
okay,
next
cool.
one says that Bran has a discreet job for those not looking to ask questions. 200 gold
God.
payment.
Bran a cripple.
Bran.
Oh, yeah.
My
Bran.
mum
It's a
and
different
dad will
guy.
not
It
approve
only
that
has
one.
1 N, actually. And he runs a place, or as far as you're aware, he is at a place, or can be contacted at a place, called... I'm pretty sure he was on page 2. Oh, it's called Do It Yourself.
Ah.
You're not sure? I mean, draw your own conclusions about what this place does. But the place to meet Bran is called Do It Yourself. The last notice that you guys haven't like read aloud as yet through the voice of me says Abaddon's Honor Tournament entries required. Prize fund 10 plat, but the real money is made in the bets. So I will give you a synopsis. Merriman looking
We broke Max.
buy gems, 20% bonus.
It's like my mission every week to see if I can break Max.
Oh, Lord.
Gaston culinary challenge.
Oh, Lord. Okay. Okay.
Brand discreet
Gaston.
job at Do It Yourself. Abaddon's. Everyone roll religion. Livia with advantage.
Straight. I'm all about the religion.
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 I'm alright with religion. Nat 20! Woo! I'm religious as fuck.
1 and is that a 13 from you, Livia? Yeah, because of the advantage. Vice, I need you to roll
Worst
again
thing
and
to
take
get
the lower.
money on, honestly.
I mean, how much lower can I get?
You could get
Can
a 0.
Can I read Nemaya's thing? One that she picked up.
Yes, but Nemea,
can-
as you are looking at her thing, I won't question it. Nemea, you are very aware of the fact that Abaddon is the god of war.
Yeah.
Okay, but so her thing says dawn is on the horizon. Those with the heart will know where to gather.
Yeah, I'm just going to add to that as well. On a nat 20, you think that by the fact that this references the god of war, you believe this to be some sort of fight-based challenge. Like it mentions a tournament and it's the god of war. Entries are required. You believe there's some sort of fighting tournament. And yeah, if you want to assume that Abaddon's honor is in the shadows, then that's up to you.
Yep, that's my conclusion, and I would tell them that I think it's in the shadows. If you guys fancy going there, maybe getting a bit of shady fighting going on.
Oh no! If my dad finds out, like
It's shady.
You guys won't
You're
have
a
it
grown
anymore.
woman, Livia.
Yes, but my dad is literally down the road, and he will kill me. Dawn on the horizon. Like what? This sounds familiar to a Sevi. So does this sound familiar to a Olivia?
You tell me, Olivia. Does this
I
sound
don't
familiar
know.
to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, then yes.
Heart of dawn. Why does dawn?
Dawn
ring a
is
bell?
on the horizon. Those with the
The Dawn
heart will
Guard.
know where to gather. The Dawn Guard is not a thing from this game.
I love Skyrims.
Oh, I've remembered. Oh, it's a Sevi. Remember?
Olivia can remember if Sevi remembers. That's fine.
No, it's not because Sevi remembers that someone else heard that Livia didn't hear.
Are you sure Olivia didn't hear it? Because somebody else may have spoken about the thing that they heard.
No, someone else didn't say anything. Specifically, didn't want to talk about it.
Okay, fine. Then it's a Sevi thing and it will not be spoken of.
Ah.
Oh.
Does this ring any bells to either of you? Oh, let's stick it in their face.
Okay, so as it's read aloud, Vice and Nemea roll history for me, please.
Oh, that was nearly Leo.
Nemea. No, actually, it was almost Livia. Lael's dead.
Ah.
Get over it.
Fuck it
Aw.
out. I mean, who's rolling? What?
Both of you, Vice and Nemea, but you probably aren't going to do worse than a 7 on your second.
So you want me to
7!
roll? Which one?
Was your 7 not your roll?
No, 1
Okay.
and 7.
That was for the
Was my
previous
roll.
thing you
That was
made
the
him
previous
roll.
roll.
not
So
for the-
please roll for me history
twice.
twice, and we will take the lower. It's
Oh.
Fuck.
and Nemea with the 7. Nemea,
Ye?
Dawn has been thrown around. That's all you remember.
Ah,
Dawn has been thrown around. That's all I remember.
That's it. I mean, if you guys can't remember and you can't roll high enough for me to hand it to you, that is it. Unfortunately, that's all.
what did Vice remember?
Nothing
Shit
at
all on a 1.
Don't remember my own name.
Or your own wife's name and her involvement.
Fuck's sake. Okay.
Strange
Well,
thing I remember.
let's keep it.
It's currently affixed to this notice board. You can take it if you want to.
Can we take a picture of it with our smartphones?
You can take a picture of it with your eyes and try and remember it.
No, I'm gonna take it.
You
It
can-
intrigues me.
If you wanted to, you all have ink and parchment, or most of you have ink and parchment. If you wanted
Yes,
to,
I'm gonna write it down.
feel
Good
free
idea.
to scroll down some things about these notices. You don't necessarily have to take them off the job board. Maybe it's in your interest to take them off the job board. Maybe you don't want other people knowing about the fact that these jobs are available. It's up to you.
Actually, that's a good point. I'm gonna take off the notice that I find weird than the one that Nemea picked
Dawn
up,
is
the
on
Dawn
the
one.
horizon. Those with the heart will know where
Because-
to gather.
I don't know. It sounds dodgy, and I'm worried that
Certainly
it's gonna be
ominous.
some sort of something, and I don't want other people getting caught up in some sort of something.
Okay, so you take that notice. I will create a notice for you.
Tanks.
Yeah, here we go. I can do descriptions and notes. Dawn is on the horizon. Those with the heart will know where
What have we
to
done?
gather.
Oh, we've
Hang on.
left.
Hang on.
Leave.
Read that again. What does that say?
Here we go.
Olivia?
Max is paying attention.
I just don't understand this note. Dawn is on the horizon. Dawn is always on the horizon. Like, dawn is dawn. Those with the heart will know where to gather? I mean, that sounds... I don't know. That sounds, like, culty. A cult's a thing in this world?
Okay.
Yes,
Okay. That sounds
is-
culty.
as is the occult.
Yeah, yes, see? A culty. We should take this. I don't know what...
Definitely take that. Definitely take that.
Yeah?
Yeah. Definitely take that.
Is anybody adding down some
Why are you
notes
laughing,
about the other notices?
Yes, I'm going to make notes of them.
Why are you laughing?
Definitely
Olivia?
take that. Why?
Definitely
Don't
take
know.
that.
Just
I
definitely.
don't know.
Just
Because,
take it.
because
Take
Josh
it
read
and-
it out.
It's my gut.
Take it. Take it, and we'll talk about it later. Okay.
What do you?
Take.
Are you part of a cult?
We'll talk about it later. I mean,
We'll
later.
talk about it.
Vice, do you know something about this?
Just take it, and we'll talk about it
You're
later.
part of a cult.
I'm not part of a damn
Amaya!
cult.
Vice is part of a cult.
I'm not
Why are
part of
you
a damn cult.
Stop
You're only allowed to be
shouting
part of
about it.
a
People
cult.
are looking.
You're the one that's shouting about it.
You're the worst whisperer ever.
I am whispering.
I am
Like number
whispering.
2. I am whispering. Stop shouting.
I am the whisperiest. Okay, so you guys carry on your journey, laughing to yourselves in the wake of the fact that one of your party died yesterday. Moving
Hey,
on.
this is what he wants. He wants to
He wanted
mean,
us
it's
to be
pretty not.
happy. That's what he was about. Remember how he used to always cheer us up and make us laugh?
Never. Never.
It's delirium. We can't help it. Namaya's gonna like what is it she does? Like something bolt you.
Has a breakdown? I don't know.
not the Stucco break. Eldritch blast you if you
Uh-huh.
don't stop in a minute.
Eldritch Blast. Okay. Getting back to the game. As you guys head on through the market square, if you can mute your laughter for a moment, another hour or so passes, and you get close to a inn that you recognise, Livia, having passed through before, called the Pint and Teller. It has a wooden notice saying its name out the front, and it's sort of like speech marks around a flagon symbol.
Guys, this inn is magical.
Okay.
Nice.
They
Wow.
do the best ale ever.
You won't be fooled.
Nice. That was really good.
Wow. Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. I'm down for a little bit. I'm down for that. Yeah, let me experience some of this. Let's go.
Okay, so, damn, this is going to be a slightly longer session. You all head into the Pint and Teller. It's one of the more... Somehow this building has achieved a rusticness, despite the fact that it's pretty much built from the same material as the other buildings. It seems to be lived in, and somehow still fancy enough to be respectable. It's certainly the best sort of place in the nearby area to get a drink. But the fact that it lists itself as an inn, or hearsay says it's an inn, suggests to you that rooms are available as well. As you head in to the inn, I'm going to move time on a little bit. We're going to get to about 6. It's about 6 p.m. Still just about daytime on the outside, but you're hitting a kind of twilight area where the darkness seems to pass through. No curfew here, so no worries about getting back at a certain time or anything like that. As you head inside, there are a number of relatively large circular wooden tables with wooden chairs adorning them, and quite a few patrons just happily drinking and eating. You see a waitress that I don't have the specifics of, frantically kind of whipping around, gathering plates, bowls, and flagons, and pulling them away into a back room. The bar is slightly lower than you would expect for a human, and you realise as two people come out of the back that that's likely because this place is serviced by dwarves, a male and a female. The one thing that you certainly notice near the large looming fire at the other end of this establishment is Baal, a very large gentleman, muscly beyond his years, although somewhat not withered, but just slightly loosened in his later years. It seems as though his time as a herald has done him relatively well. He doesn't seem to need to, stay on the shakes and hit the gym every day like he would have perhaps previously. It's calm enough, and it's simply lit by candlelight across the room on all the tables. There's quite a nice bar. And I'm going to need to go into a couple things, bear with me. All of you roll investigation. Actually, give me perception, because you're not specifically looking for this. Just want to see what you would see. And this is far more active perception than just your passive perception. You're specifically seeing things as you enter this room.
I rolled like shit. 8. The mayor also got 8. Vice is refusing. Oh no. Did you roll? No. Vice is
He got up to do something with his lights, I think, but whatever he rolls, he has to roll at disadvantage, so...
Hang on. What is
Don't
it you
mind
want
him.
to roll? Sorry.
Perception at disadvantage.
Perception. Thank you. Sorry, I had to get up.
No worries.
Do your lights. Yeah, it's fine.
There you go.
What is it?
Oh, a nat 20
No,
and
nat
a
20 and
14.
Oh, 14's still not bad. Give me a sec.
Aww.
Okay. Definitely not back from anywhere. Cool. So, you guys look about the room. The two of you are, Nemea and Livia, sorry, the two of you are slightly enamoured by the sheer breadth of Baal. He is a large gentleman, but he has, you'd expect somebody that big and muscly to be aggressive or like looming, threatening in nature, but he's quite a welcoming guy. He's perfectly approachable, and as a result you end up taking up a table pretty close to him, not too far away, and he's sitting in a slightly nicer, ornate chair near the fireplace. He's kind of backlit by the fire, and it gives him a sort of grimacing shading that really lays into the fact that he is otherwise a big, muscly dude. But you know him to be friendly, so it's not as though you're threatened. You just sort of catch a glimmer of this this sinister sort of nature, despite the fact that he's otherwise quite a perfectly good dude. Vice, you specifically see a few more people as you pass on through. You have to ask somebody to excuse you as you move around them. They were standing up to go get another drink from the bar. There's a couple gentlemen that just seem to be somewhat shadowed and seem to be keeping to themselves. These aren't the two that got up as you passed them. And there is a... bear with me. There is a somewhat defeated half-elf lady that kind of throws you a smile that belies a bit of a... not loneliness, but just kind of general unhappiness. She's the one that stands and turns to you. You say, "Excuse me." She throws you the smile and looks a little bit sad, moves the chair aside and heads over to the bar and returns to her table shortly afterwards. You also see a slightly tanned fellow with kind of slightly dark brown hair sitting in the distance at a table by himself. He seems to be just chilling out and looking over at the two gentlemen that look to be a little bit shady. There's nothing that really suggests that they're dodgy outside of the fact that they're talking under their breath a little bit, if they do speak at all. And other than that, they're just generally spending some time, having a drink, no big deal. You move on through and you join the two of the people that, the two people you came here with, your party, Nemea and Livia. There are a couple other people surrounding the various other tables of this inn, but their faces kind of blur into the darkness a little bit as you move on through. Bear with me. Can I get Vice only, since you were the only one to roll high enough the first time round, to roll Perception for me? And it's still going to be at disadvantage, I'm afraid.
Alright, here we go. 18.
Good ass rolls. So you notice that those two people that are kind of talking slightly under their breath seem to be just roughly, every now and then, looking over at your table. And I'll tell you what, on an 18, you also notice that the tanned guy in the far corner is kind of looking at them. And it looks as though he has just about picked up on the fact that those guys are looking at you. But it's a bar. People are looking around. You guys are the newcomers. Two of you don't look like you're from here. One of you's a tiefling. And you haven't seen a single tiefling yet in Stalvin.
Okay.
Nemea, even without a roll, the fact that you haven't come across a tiefling yet in a city that you know to be predominantly human puts you somewhat on edge.
Yeah.
Racism towards tieflings is still a thing in Bela'Dun, unfortunately, and although you are not victim to it often, it's something that you have had to put up with during your lifetime.
Yep, it is on my character sheet that I very much hate it.
That makes sense.
I don't imagine you'd like it.
What
Oh,
racism?
I love being
Enough
the lesser
that
person.
I get irritated before it happens, kind of thing, where I'm like, he's looking at me. Ugh.
Yeah, as
Like
these
that
guys
kind
look
of
over at the
people.
table, if you'd have noticed it, there would have been probably a pang of, he probably hates tieflings. That would have been the go-to. And to be honest, Vice, next to Nemea, that's probably what you're thinking too. As the fire fades slightly, in the corner of this darkened room, this looming figure backlit in a kind of shadowing way that it shrouds him slightly. A single candle flickers at the end of the bar, which lights this corner a bit better as one of the dwarves comes over and lights it. And you see this character, this large, muscly man that you know to be Baal, shift in his seat and reach about himself underneath his garments, pull out a few big pieces of parchment, and he kind of gathers them together in his hands. You see him scrolling his fingers over it a little bit, and he seems as though perhaps he's getting close to what you assume is ready, though you don't really know what ready kind of gives way to in this point. Bear with me. He looks about the room, and given that you are sitting relatively close to him, you kind of have full witness to this entire thing. The people in the tavern, in the inn rather, because it's not just a tavern, begin to notice his movements. There's a creaking of his chair as he shifts his weight, and people start to fall a little bit quiet. He's clearly a somewhat more humble gentleman. As I said earlier, he's declined in physical stature slightly, but not enough to be underestimated, and you can tell, just looking at him physically, that he still holds a decent amount of weight and strength. It seems as though he's embraced age well, as I said, and the muscles have smoothed over slightly. You know him to be a herald, and you suspect that perhaps he's done this for several years. He looks about the room, slowly, as if eyeing everybody individually. He wants to recognize his audience before he tells a more interesting tale to him. The once solemn look of being almost forced to tell a story that has gone sour is entirely gone from his expression. He seems interested and focused on making sure he has the attention of the people in front of him. Travel between continents has always been difficult. Travel between planes, even more so. And that is where things get interesting. He says this, and people fully go silent at this point. They take note and recognize that somebody who it seems is well known as being a somewhat theatrical storyteller has come to tell a story, and it's worth listening to. The simple tavern houses many regulars, and at the middle of winter, it's a somewhat cold time that you haven't really picked up on until this point. Fully armoured, fully clothed underneath that armour, those of you that wear armour, you're not massively affected by the cold. It's not snowed heavily or anything like that. It's kind of, well, it's kind of like a winter in the UK. It's fucking cold, but there's no real clue other than the bitter wind blowing through occasionally. It seems as though this weather has probably drawn in more members of the surrounding community than this inn otherwise sees. Most people reach for their drinks, and you notice that as Baal begins to speak, there is the creak of chairs as people move closer towards him. You're uncertain for a moment as to whether or not they're getting closer to hear the story, or simply getting closer to the fire that gives off the heat that they seem to have gathered here for. At this point, the waitress girl that I mentioned earlier moves by and knocks your table slightly and apologizes quite honestly. You recognize her up close to be a half-elf girl, relatively young in age, and there's a moment of silence only really split apart by the fact that she kind of knocked into your table as she looks into one of your flagons, places another, and takes the empty one away. As you look back at Baal, he kind of grins for a moment as he realizes that his reputation as a herald seems to have gathered the silence that he was looking for when he began to speak. No one alive today could tell you much about the Age of Gods. As we know, their influence can still be seen today, but that's not what we're here to discuss. This man, he started out mortal, just like all of you. And he kind of motions around. You see now that some of the people in the back have children with them, and they're kind of hiding slightly underneath their parents, like shawls, the outsides of their garments. One of the barkeeps moves around and shouts out to the male, shouts over to the female. It's a good story, you should come over for this one, Beres. And she comes out, moves along the bar carrying what appears to be quite a large pot, not dissimilar of the food that you had at the Temple of Arella. And she says, "Hush, Philly, I'm listening." She moves down to the bar and places the big stew on a flame at the back. She raises a hand that you catch as you've heard them talk in the background, and she lets the waitress know to stop. She kind of catches the glimmer and looks about at many tables that still need servicing, and you hear the female dwarf say, "Don't worry about it, Renor. Give it a moment." And she kind of stops in place and moves over to the bar closer to them. Baal continues and says, "If everyone knows your name, there's usually a reason, no? Well, becoming a god is as good a reason as you're ever going to get. Though I doubt that even Lunari, god of the arcane, foresaw the chaos he would come to cause in his mortal life." He pauses for a moment and looks over the room again. "How many of you have walked the Fairlands? None?" He asks in a questioning manner. "Can the three of you roll history for me?"
Who?
All of you, roll history. Vice at disadvantage because he is exhausted.
Oh, sorry, -2, 18.
Nat 20.
Okay, cool.
5.
All distance.
Okay, so Vice, despite your many months, potentially years travelling, Fairlands to you is a confusing term that you have not heard before. You're unsure of this. Livia, you've heard talk of the Fairlands as something that it's almost like a concept, but it gets spoken about every now and then throughout Stalvin, especially back when you lived here, though not recently it seems. Nemea, Fairlands is a specific colloquialism which refers to a continent aside from Bela'Dun, and the concept in itself is ridiculous. Leaving Bela'Dun, as you all well know, it's almost impossible. Any ship that has tried to traverse the extremely treacherous seas has never returned. So the fact that somebody would use this term, which references any land, just foreign land, essentially, anywhere that is not Bela'Dun, is almost comical, because no, you've not heard of it, you've not been, nobody's been, anyone that tries basically dies. The question is almost entirely rhetorical, you realise as he continues on. How many then have traversed the central wood of Bela'Dun? He looks around again and nobody particularly responds. You've all heard of the Wandering Wood. You see occasional nods. Some of the three of you remember, and in fact, I would say that you had all possibly heard Lael talk of the Wandering Wood in passing. Lael, would you say that's fair?
Yeah.
Cool. The ghost of Lael responds.
Yes.
Woo!
Oh, Lord.
It is one thing to have simply heard of these places, another to have traversed them. But to have travelled them all in a single moment. Lunari birthed the magic to transcend planes, and in doing so he tore apart his very existence and became pure arcana. One of the people in the back kind of shouts out and just says, "That's nonsense, you don't know what you're talking about." And Baal kind of looks at him for a moment. It doesn't faze him. He gives the guy his time to shout this and just says, "You may have my doubts, good fellow. Or your doubts, rather. But allow me to assuage your illusion on the matter, for as we know, Lunari created many trinkets, baubles of power, of which was beyond even the imagination of all of Stalvan's wizards and warlocks, back when they were allowed to practice." And he almost spits at the ground, and for a moment remembers where he is and thinks better of it. You can see that the people around him now, some of them are getting slightly uneasy at the talk of... At such open talk of a time of magic in Stalvan. People have been imprisoned simply for having affiliations, from what you can gather. They say that every magical forge throughout the world was once created throughout the power of these enchanted items. However, it was long before this time that one of those items was used by none other than Malik Jekt himself. And I need everyone to roll history again.
Even Ghost Lael?
Nope. He's dead.
Oh.
19. I'm good with my history.
Oh,
One.
Jesus.
And again, Vice, you might get a 0.
I got.
No, he's
I
already
already rolled.
Oh, you rolled
15.
twice. Okay, cool. So it's a 1. 13 and a 19. Nemea, you remember, specifically you actually, remember Malik Jekt as the tiefling that opened the demon portals that ended the race wars that were happening in Bela'Dun. You know, they weren't really branded as a race war, but it was mostly humans versus dwarfs. The south versus the north. Malik Jekt was the one that opened the portals that allowed demons to enter the realm and forced the remaining natural races to broker peace and rise up against the demon force that came through. The suggestion that Lunari, who you know to be god of the arcane, created something that Malik Jekt then used to bring about the severe tragedy that he brought about is almost blasphemous for you. It's ridiculous to mention, and yet all at once it makes so much sense. You've heard tales of the fact that Malik Jekt brought demons through, but the story goes that he was otherwise a simple tiefling, and there isn't much explanation as to how the hell he did that. But it was so long ago now, I think, I don't remember exactly when I put it, since the calendar being like brought about, but like hundreds of years ago still. So within 400 or so years, but still hundreds of years ago, people creak in their chairs at the mention of Malik Jekt, almost shocked enough to just get up and leave. And you see some of the people at the back gather their children as the night moves through to kind of 6:30, 7 p.m. They head back to their homes halfway through the story, and as they get up and leave, Baal just remains silent. He lets them go as if it was something he was expecting. You hear over at the bar just muttering between the two dwarves. One calls to the other Beres, and the other calls to the other Philly, and the two of them are talking to Renault and just generally saying, "Hey, it's a long story, but it's a good one. I'm listening." And he carries on and says, "I know some of you are still swayed by ripples of the wars of old," and he looks around. "Malik used an artifact, once created by Lunari himself to end eons of fighting. But with that he brought forth the demons that are still seen today. Though these sightings are, thankfully, less of late, rare to the point now that some have begun to believe the danger has entirely assuaged. I think better of that, but I don't question the ignorant." It seems now that I would tell you the end of my tale. Perhaps you wish to be one like Lunari, the mage god. Somebody who tries to better the world and transcends mortality itself in doing so. Or perhaps, through ignorance, through a city that has forsaken magic and the knowledge held within, you could be like Malik and infest it. A simple tiefling whose actions caused the abolishment of all teleportation magic. If people weren't convinced before that general conversation of magic was risky, speak of teleportation all but empties the tavern, the inn. Those that were staying before, few continue to. In fact, at this point, you're really only left with the tanned guy in the back, one or two other patrons, and the two shadier guys are all but standing at their table, readily about to leave. Baal stands at this point, and it's an unexpected motion to see this kind of humble storyteller in his simple, almost well, not doubly simple. Another simple chair, almost like a rocking chair. He stands, stretches his back, cracks some of his aged bones, and looms, almost reaching the ceiling of this place. He reaches inside his garment and pulls out an item that looks to be strange in its construction, spherical, and almost glowing inside. There's a recognition from most of the bar that perhaps this is some kind of magical item. And the two slightly shrouded characters that were ready to leave begin to leave. They move their chairs aside, they stand behind them, and all that stops them is Baal's speaking as he says, "I for one am thankful for the gifts that Lunari left in his wake." He holds this orb in his hand, and I need all of you to roll history with advantage, which means Vice just once.
10.
8.
Livia, you recognize this orb. It is exactly the same as the orb that the merchant gave to you at
A
Broker's
long time ago.
Ridge when he spoke of
over.
finding several orbs
What?
on somebody who was
Mhm.
dead and being chased by a demon from that point onwards.
Mm-hmm.
And it got destroyed.
Baal looks down at the orb,
Oh.
having just said his piece. He looks out at everyone in front of him, knowing full well what is and isn't illegal in Bela'Dun, and what is and isn't currently outlawed in Stalvin, and he crushes the orb in his hands. And in that moment, he dissipates into nothingness and fully teleports away from this room. Immediately,
Joking.
everything goes silent. The two people standing behind their chairs rush off out the door, presumably to reach the guard. And you hear the two dwarves behind the bar just be like, "Ah, fuck." And one of the male turns to the female and just says, "Gather everything, take it out back, get what you can, and just tidy it up. We're going to have some problems." And the female Beres just says, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, I don't think those two have gone to get their mothers. They're probably bringing the guard." And he starts tidying up. As he begins to move glasses and the like below the bar, he looks at Renara and just says, "Go, girl. Go home for the night. You don't want to be here for what's coming." At this point, bear with me. Why would I need to save it? I didn't change it. One sec. One thing a specific person notices is that the two people that ran to presumably get the guard seemed incredibly infixed on the group that entered. The group that entered you don't recognize, but the two that left you have tracked here and know them to be members of the Heart of Dawn. So, Elkas, you see the group ahead of you, seemingly important enough to interest the Heart of Dawn, and the 2 members of the Heart of Dawn that you have tracked here have left. What would you like to do?
Well, that's a good question.
What?
Let me just do this thing.
And feel free to throw me any questions if you have them.
Well, I was half spaced out,
Hmm.
so I'm not entirely sure
That's
what's going
fine.
on. But
Baal told his story and teleported away, which is incredibly illegal. Not just in Stalvin, but in the continent of Bela'Dun. As per the history. Those of you on Twitch, feel free to watch the catch-up lore episode that I have on YouTube. Same name.
There he is. Woohoo!
ooh,
Elkas,
Oh my
Let's
God.
roll 20.
now that you are here, Elkas, and that everybody else has basically left, why don't you describe what you look like across the room in the dim light?
I'm. Just imagine a similar kind of wood elf to Lael, slightly more tanned, 2 braids, kind of like Link from Legend of Zelda, with hazel eyes, slightly taller. Looks quite young, but not quite young in human years, but relatively young in elf years. And yeah, he's
Is he slender? Is he chunky?
He's pretty slender, but he's got some muscle to him.
Okay, so he's
You
not
can work
he's
out.
not twig like Leo.
He's quite fit,
Okay,
you know.
yeah.
Elkas,
He's so
The
fit.
mayor has immediately forgotten about Leo.
Who's Leo?
And he's got a very
I'm buff, bitch.
elegant-looking sword at his side.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright.
And everybody
Well,
roll.
Hang on. What do we know what class he is? Or
Shut up, pervert.
Everybody roll perception.
pun?
Who is not Elkas?
I mean,
shit, I won't.
how old is he?
4.
I don't know shit. I'm
You're
like,
gonna
who
need
is
to
this?
roll pretty high to see some certain things. That might be high enough.
Damn straight is 23.
Vice.
23.
Disadvantage.
Perception with disadvantage, please.
Hang on. Yeah.
Oh, maybe. There it goes. So, 2 things. Firstly, Elkas,
Mhm.
you've come here, as you know, hearing what you have in terms of intel about the Heart of Dawn. You have tracked them to the Pint and Teller, where you followed those 2 until you found that they seem to be specifically looking at this trio, and then they fucking bolted when some dude teleported out of the room. Livia. Elkas is clearly wearing a ring not entirely dissimilar from... let me check one thing. No, it's fine. Not entirely dissimilar from descriptions of another ring that you had heard of in the past.
No.
Okay.
At this point, with the word of Philly talking about the guard coming this way, basically everyone has exited the inn, except for Philly, Beres, Renoa reluctantly has left, the 3 of you, and this wood elven character in the corner.
I'm
What does
gonna
anyone
step
want to do?
up from the chair.
Okay.
Just slowly get up. And I imagine I would have had like a small drink with me, and I'll just sort of like down the last little bit and plop it down.
You do so.
And then I'll walk towards the group. So what brings you guys here?
Hmm. How do we answer?
We've been traveling. Sorry, I was writing. We've been traveling for a number of months, and I'm originally from here, and so we decided to come back. We had some things we wanted to look into, and I wanted to come home. So yeah, that kind of sums that up, really. What about you? What's your name?
My name's Elkas. And yours?
I'm Livia. This is Vice, and that's Nemea.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Tracking down a few people, a few incidents from where I live.
Oh, where are you from?
Find the people responsible. I'm from a tribe of Wood Elves, as you may see. I am one of them.
Do I remember what the name of Lael's tribe was?
Roll history.
I feel like I definitely mentioned it.
Yeah, you definitely mentioned it, whether I can remember it or not.
They are called the Daliera tribe on a 17. You remember the name well enough.
Mm-hmm.
You don't happen to be the Daliera tribe at all, would you?
No, that's not actually my tribe. I am of the Fenharel.
You're unfamiliar with such a tribe, Livia. You've never heard of them.
Yeah, no, I got that.
Quick, I would like. I can barely remember exactly what we figured out. But did I know that the Daliera had been attacked as well?
Yes. All of this is post all of the events. So, in terms of you, Elkas, sorry, I'm already fucking up. And your crossbow, you went and approached who you approached, one of the tribes that you approached. That was not the Daliera tribe.
Yeah.
You returned to your own tribe, and word of what happened in the Wandering Wood, and especially those amidst the Alliance, would have definitely spread to you before you headed out, and even probably once heading out. So yeah, you're fully aware of the fact that the Daliera tribe was attacked.
Yeah, in response I would have said, like, unfortunately the Daliera tribe was attacked. You seem to be familiar with the name, though. What's your affiliation?
Ah, shit, I'm fucking things up. Sorry, stream.
We knew someone from the Daliera tribe. They were very close to us.
You did? Who was this man? Or woman?
At this point, I'm tearing up and I can't say anymore. One of you would have to take over.
You see, Elkas, that you seem to have hit a sore spot as Nemea begins to tear up slightly and look to the other two.
I imagine I would have seen it and I would be like, I apologize if this was a sore subject.
It's fine. It's just relatively fresh. And give him sort of like a smile, as in like, I hope you understand what I mean.
I just sort of nod and then I change the subject quickly. So, aside from all this, introductions aside, the matter at hand, you all seem to be pretty unfazed by the man magically disappearing in this here pub. Why?
Should we be?
Teleportation
Well, it seemed like everyone else ran
illegal.
off pretty quickly. Especially
Yeah, but
yours. I sort of look over towards Livia, especially if you're someone that's lived here. You seem familiar with the rules. Surprised you're not sprinting out quickly.
I mean, well,
Why
I'm
are you
familiar.
questioning us? Why are you questioning us about how we?
Guys, chill out, you grump. Someone, sorry, he needs to sleep. He's had a rough few days.
He's very exhausted.
He looks it.
I've had the disadvantage.
I've been gone for nearly 2 years and only arrived back here today, funnily enough. So we were just trying to catch up on what's been happening, and these two have never been here before. So you could say I kind of know the rules. You could say I kind of don't really know the rules.
Everybody knows the rules of teleportation in Bela'Dun.
Oh, I thought he was talking about the magic.
Well, the guy disappeared after crushing an orb.
All right, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, I know the rules.
Either way.
Well, that aside, there's two fellows that I was keeping an eye on. They seem to be pretty focused on you guys as well. Wouldn't happen to know them, would you?
No.
No.
No, I don't believe we do.
Oh no! All I know is that they've been eyeing us the moment that we got into this place.
I'll do a nice little cheeky insight check as Elkas.
Okay, roll it.
Gotta figure out my stats because I can't remember.
New character sheet. If you guys want to insight Elkas, I'm cool with it. Roll it.
For what? Sorry.
Lucy gets to see my stats as well.
If you want to roll insight to see what you think of Elkus and what he's saying, whether or not he's lying or telling the truth, you can.
Ooh,
Hey, first roll is Elkus, incredibly high.
hell yeah.
So, Elkus, you recognize the fact that they all seem to be relatively telling the truth, but you think that perhaps they are telling the truth through not realizing what is happening, rather than simply telling the truth.
Yeah.
Vice, this guy, he's asking a lot of questions, and it seems like he knows a lot more than you, and you don't really know why.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I'm not willing to trust someone here.
You have cut out.
Yeah, you cut off at the end. Try again.
Hello? Can you hear me?
We got you.
Yes.
What was it you said at the end?
Oh, no, I was just saying I just...
That always
So...
happens.
Hello?
Just give us the end bit again.
Trust the guy.
Okay.
Okay. So Elkus, you're
Well-
aware of the organization that these two are from. It's up to you how much information you want to give away, but you are fully also aware of the fact that those two were very much looking at these three. And
Mhm.
roll insight for me, Elkus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eh.
They were looking at them as though somebody they knew, but couldn't quite place why.
Well,
Like
I was
somebody
just
you went to school with, but you're not sure.
Mhm. I guess. They seem to be telling the truth. And I think I'll through the sort of semi-understanding that I'd sort of just look at them like, well, if you guys are curious about those folk, more than welcome to tag along with me. And I just say like, well, you know, we best be off right now if that's the case, because there's going to be a few guards here in a moment, and I'd rather not be caught up in all that. And I just sort of start plodding off in a sort of like weird gesture, sort of lead them out the door.
Okay. What do the rest of you do?
I look at the others and then just say, "Come on, we don't want to get caught up. It's our first night here. Whatever guards, I don't want to end up in police custody. Let's leave." Guard custody.
I was going to say guard custody, and then you said
That's what I meant. Because we got arrested one time. Let's not do it again.
I'm just gonna look at everyone and be like, I am still tired as hell. I don't really want to be running around with some random dude. Like, if you know, so, and I'm just gonna say to the guys, look, yeah, I'm gonna go and get myself a room or somewhere to stay. Yeah,
You do have a place to stay.
Okay.
that's what I mean. I'm gonna go and
Go back to the temple.
chill. Okay, I'm gonna go to the temple. I'll go hang out with Livia's parents.
Sevi, is your mic not working? Why are you
on
on mute? Unmute. NP stands for no problem, so I'm really not sure why you... Okay, cool. That's better. Okay, so do you guys take Elkas with you, or do you simply let him go into the night as you return to the temple?
Well, I've already left.
No, yeah, it was me and Livia followed Alcus, and he went back to the temple.
Oh, so you brought him with you to the temple?
No, it was.
We split up.
I was going off. Those two were following me,
Mm-hmm.
and Vice wanted to go
Vice
sleep.
went back to the temple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We have left Vice.
no worries. So Vice goes back to the temple. Bear with me then. Um, Elkas,
Hmm.
you lead the two of them into the shadow, or into the shadows. After a few hours, Livia, you start to recognize that you do not know this place. And Elkas leads you all the way to a place called the Cloak and Flagon. You recognize, or you don't recognize it, but you recognize it's named that based on the wooden plaque hanging outside. As you head on through, a tiefling behind the bar looks at you and just says, "Your room's upstairs. Carry on." Do you say anything to him, Elkas? You know him to be Chant. That's all you know. You don't know his last name. You know his first name to be Chant, and he is a tiefling.
What did he say again? Because I spaced
Your
it.
room's upstairs.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll just like cheers and sort of head on up there.
As you
I
pass
guess it
on,
would just be a small room, wouldn't it?
it is a small room, yeah. It's not got 3 beds in it.
Yeah. Okay.
As you pass by and say this to him, he looks at you and just says, "A successful night."
I just sort of shake my hand a bit and just go.
So do you head up to your room with these two?
Yeah, I just sort of like
Okay,
motion for them to follow me up.
No worries. So Livia and Nemea, you head up to Elkas's room in the Cloak and Flagon, and Vice, you have returned to the Temple of Arella, where there's nobody on the door at such a late hour, and it takes you some time to get back there. It takes even
He's
longer for
okay.
you guys to... That's fine. I'm coming off now anyway. It takes even longer for you guys to get to the Cloak and Flagon. So by about 9 p.m, everyone is in a room. Vice pretty much asleep at this point, and the 3 of you in a room that only really houses one. But that is where we will leave it. We will pick up next time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Cool.
And finally back
Elkas.
He's back in.
away.
What was I going to... Oh, yes, the Obstric thing. In Campaign 1, with Sevi and Sal and Darren, they were part of a mercenary group called Viorum, which you all would maybe have heard of, maybe not have heard of. I think we rolled for it like much
We
earlier
did
on in the
that
campaign.
sort of thing in the one shot that we did,
Mm-hmm.
where it was just us. Max wasn't there, but it was the rest of us.
Yeah. So Viorum is a concept that has kind of died out because of the events of the end of Campaign 1. But essentially there was a merchant in Campaign 1 called Sebastian Obstric. And one of the things he said in one of the sessions of Campaign 1 is that he had a grandfather who owned a far better enchanting place than what he was able to offer in Stalvin. And that was like 2 years ago. So his grandfather's name is Benjamin Obstric, and Benjamin Obstric's enchanters is in Stalvin, and it's called Obstric's Tricks. However, due to the recent rule of the king, it's shut down. And that's why Sevi has heard the name Obstric before.
Da-da.
I'm sure he has his reasons. Maybe stupid reasons. But...
No reasons, nonetheless.
I'm gonna kill the stream. Thanks for watching.
Bye,
If you were
stream.
here.
Bye, stream.
If you missed
Bye.
it, see it on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube. Do the Twitch things. I don't know how it
Don't
works.
forget to press that notification bell.
Do the things. It's all gonna get copyright claimed anyway, so we can't make money off it. Bye.
Bye.